Danfo offers unparalleled, curated, and bespoke tours across Africa for travelers seeking genuine cultural experiences, enriched with magnificent sights, sounds, and flavors found on the continent. Each trip is reliably curated to ensure visitors are gifted with an immersive and authentic adventure. Whether you find yourself strolling along the charming white sand beaches of Sierra Leone, feasting on the mouth-watering delicious foods in Senegal, observing or partaking in various aspects of the Isheshe traditional system Ifa native to Yoruba land, Nigeria, with Danfo, you will rediscover a fulfilling sense of kinship to the true heart of the motherland, her communities. Our core values focus on integrity, quality, safety, and sustainability. We are uniquely committed to assisting with the advancement of African infrastructure and promoting African businesses, so both travelers and the communities they visit receive beneficial exchanges. At Danfo, we understand the importance of connectivity, and we have created a model which provides bespoke experiences based on your passions or hobbies. With us, expect a long-lasting spiritual bond between you and your destinations. Live, love, Danfo, Africa. To learn more, visit danfo.africa.
Peace, family. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining. Hit that like button again. Please hit that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. I will greatly appreciate it. You guys know the drill. You've been here. I've been here since 2014 or something like that. Going live since like 2016. So you guys know the drill. You know what to do when you come on. All right, we're going to have another interesting conversation this evening. But before we do that, again, you guys know what to do. Got a couple of announcements. We are rolling to Nigeria. Again, we're rolling to Nigeria August 2nd to the 11th. August 2nd to 11th, we are rolling to Nigeria. If you're interested in joining us, please visit Danfo, that's DANFO .Africa. Again, please visit Danfo, that's DANFO .Africa to learn more. We are also rolling to Zanzibar and Kenya in September, Sierra Leone, and Sierra Leone in November as well. Ghana and Ivory Coast in November, and Benin Republic in January. Again, if you're interested in joining, please visit Danfo. That's DANFO .Africa to learn more. Without further ado, let's jump into tonight's topic. This came across my timeline on X. There's a lot of interesting topics and conversations that are happening on X. No matter how you feel about Elon Musk, the first trillionaire, there are a lot of interesting conversations that are going on X. So again, hit that like button, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe. Should immigrants be tested on the civil rights movement before becoming U.S. citizens? So I'm not very up on the test. Maybe people who have immigrated to America who are familiar with this test, you guys can call in, because I'm not really up to date or aware of how this test and what questions they ask on this this immigrant test in order to become a U.S. citizen. But from my understanding, per actor Laz Alonso, hopefully I'm saying that right, they don't bring up anything having to do with the with civil rights. So I guess it's just, when was the America founded? When is was Independence Day? Who was the first president of the United States of America? Yeah, I'm guessing that's what the someone says. You mean the lies of the civil rights movement? I'm gonna put the link in the chat room shortly, and you guys are more than welcome to speak on the lies of the civil rights movement as well. So yeah, so I'm guessing that's but the test focuses on just the founding of America, which Black Americans played a major role in, but doesn't go into detail about, slaveries. Maybe they talk about the Civil War, but they ignore the Emancipation Proclamation. Maybe they ignore Juneteenth. I'm guessing, again, they don't talk about the Civil Rights Movement. I don't know if MLK Jr. is even mentioned in this. Questions about MLK Jr. is mentioned in this exam. But let's jump into this interview with Laz Alonso, and he discusses.
I'll be honest with you. Growing up in DC, in the area that I grew up,
right,
and the era, the area and era, I was always proud of my Blackness.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
Yeah.
And that's how I identify myself in the world, and that's how the world identifies me when they see me without me opening my mouth. And if you look at my block and my friends and my circle and everything that raised me outside of the four walls of my home, it was always Black culture, African American culture.
Which is your culture.
That's my culture. And I will always represent that with the utmost respect, class, and homage, any way that I can honor the history that has given me an opportunity to shine. Because one thing that I don't feel is explained enough to all immigrants is that no one would have rights in this country had it not been for African Americans' sacrifices and struggle during the Civil Rights Movement. Not one immigrant would have any rights to look forward to if Black people didn't put their bodies and their lives on the line. And I always wonder why, in order to become a U.S. citizen, you have to take a citizenship class and then pass a citizenship exam. And I never understood why. Well, I understand why.
Yeah.
But I can't believe that part of that citizenship test does not include the Civil Rights Movement.
Well,
because every immigrant that comes to this country, I know I'm going way left.
I love this. You're in my wheelhouse,
listen,
bro. You let it fly.
Every immigrant that steps foot in this country, no matter what country you're from, should know that the reason why the opportunities that exist for me and my family in this country and why I left my country to come here is because Black people bled for this and fought for this. I couldn't vote in my country, but I can vote here. Why? Black people.
Yeah.
And to me, I feel like sometimes there are clashes within cultures.
Yes.
And there is tension and a lot of negative stereotypes that are adopted by many immigrants that come to this country.
Sure.
Would be dispelled right at the root if they knew that these opportunities exist, because the very people that you are being taught to look down on.
Yeah. Well, again, it's what you mentioned about the citizenship test and the preconditioning before you step foot on any of the soil of the United States, down to the history books that we're given, that come to find out those were tainted and designed for us to learn a certain structure of what the American legacy is, and all of those things. Ignorance is what drives control.
Correct.
So if I have millions of people that don't know
Right.
any of those things, and you're dangling the golden carrot in front of everybody and allowing them to pursue this quote unquote American dream, which I don't know what the hell that is.
Right.
You're distracted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never changed. It's just been the way the system in this country has always worked.
Right.
It's how it became successful
You're
in
right.
the first place.
All right, guys. Links in the chat room. If you want to call in and add to this conversation, you can. Now, here's another. If we can have a do-over when it comes to the civil rights movement, what would you have done differently? You are correct. Jews did play a large role in funding the civil rights movement. That is why there is nothing specifically for Black people, because Jews wouldn't have funded. And that's just a fact. That's why even though Black people did the heavy lifting in order to get the financial backing needed, which I don't really think financial backing was really needed, because what actually are you financing? What was actually financed? That's the question. Where did the money actually go? That's the question. Okay, Jews financed it, but where did the money actually go? Does anybody want to take a guess? So that's a good question. But Jews did play a large role in financing the civil rights movement. Therefore, they're not going to support anything specifically for Black people. Transportation for marches, signs, security, etc. We had transportation. We had signs. We had security. What did they fund? There was actually, so when you're dealing with the I think it was the Montgomery bus boycotts or Memphis bus boycotts, one of the two. There was a Black pastor, I have to get his information, who was offering to provide buses during the boycott, but Black leadership turned it down. That's what I'm saying. Like, when you say they funded transportation, sign, security, like, do you really need that much funding to get from Atlanta to Birmingham, or Atlanta to Selma? Like, how much money do you need to make a sign? And as far as security, what do you mean security, Elvis? You see the videos of the police officers hosing everybody down and beating people across the head with batons. So what security? That's why I don't, the excuse that I've been given is because, of course, Jews had to fund the movement, and that's why everybody had to be included. But what exactly did they fund? So, I mean, if you look at the videos, especially at Selma, it was Bloody Sunday. Where was the security at? But guys, links in the chat room if you want to call in and add to the conversation. Click on a link, and shout out to this brother Sean from Boys to Men. Brother, he got to be approaching. He got to be in his mid-50s, but brother looks good. He's taking care of himself. That's what I'm talking about. It helped with litigations of landmark civil rights cases also. I don't know, man. I don't know. But links in the chat room if you want to call in after the conversation. You're more than welcome to call in and after the conversation. But what would you have done differently? When we speak of the civil rights movement, what would you have done differently? That's the most of the civil rights movement lawyers were Jewish. Okay. I mean, we couldn't find any Black lawyers. We didn't have any black lawyers? No, that's not true. Jews didn't write MLK speeches. It was in fact, he recently just passed away. It was actually a black guy. Now, maybe Jews pitched in, but it was a black guy who just recently passed away who helped with, I know for a fact, with the I Have a Dream speech. I can't remember his name. Yeah, I can't remember his name. The Jews financed Dr. King organization, NAACP. Well, I know they financed the NAACP. Yeah, but did we really need that funding? I mean, but I'm trying to figure out what exactly did they fund. Now we know they run the NAACP. That's a fact. We know they founded the NAACP. Like, we know that. I think we need to have a refresher with brother Hosea Williams. In fact, let's pull up the Hosea Williams clip real quick. He gets into the civil rights movement.
Moment in my life. Before I left the orphan home, I'd been given an address that my father was supposed to live, a school where he was supposed to be working. And back in those days,
well, I know Chad Jackson. In fact, you know what? You're right. Let's pull up Chad Jackson. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me about Chad Jackson. I want to find something that's short. Like, I'm seeing a lot of long form interview Chad, but you're correct. Chad does go in on the civil rights movement. Oh, let's see here. Here we go. All right, honest discussion. Chad Jackson, fair use.
American history is so complex. Even how we understand our history is complex.
Protesters were out today pushing for the removal of a statue at Columbus Park.
This symbol must come down.
When conservatives are trying to stave off the left as they come for George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, their sort of defense will be, well, at that time period, everybody owned slaves, and we're the first country to abolish slavery, and these types of things.
The American Revolution caused people to question slavery. That birthed abolition movements.
I was very offended for him to say that nobody criticized slavery until the slave-holding American founding fathers decided to raise it. Disqualifies 200.
When progressives raise the slave-holding legacy of our founding fathers to conservatives, the conservative response is generally, these are men of their times and they have to be understood as such. But some of the same conservatives will turn around and indict King and say his views are so incompatible with the American founding and our principles that we should reconsider the extent to which we lionize him.
The whole reason that we even lionize or popularize someone like a Martin Luther King, who, by the way, was an all-out Marxist, who didn't believe in God. He said so in his own papers, that he did not believe in the resurrection of the Christ. That's very strange for someone who professes to be a Christian pastor. He didn't write any of his speeches. His dissertation was plagiarized. Those in his inner circle, his speechwriters, were themselves communists. Stanley Levison was a treasurer for a communist front group in New York. Bayard Rustin was a communist. He's the one who taught Martin Luther King the strategy of nonviolence. He was a concoction.
To me, it's logically inconsistent to say that the slave master should be given due deference and have his positions analyzed with a sense of nuance. But the commie is once and for all, forever will be outside of the bounds of any type of respect and honor in terms of our political history. I can certainly more so understand why a Southern Baptist preacher who is maybe 2 generations removed from slavery would be in favor of Marxism than I can the co-founders of BLM in 2016. I'm not saying I agree with King's economic philosophy, but I understand why he would have it.
Well, touche. But the reality is that Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement served in America as a kind of Marxist Trojan horse. From the outside, it appeared to be moderate and pro-American.
This is a gift. We should take it to the temple of Poseidon.
And it's for this reason that America accepted it. But when you look at the results that followed, which were intentional, an expanded government, various socialist policies, a heightened welfare state, the facts reveal that this wasn't ignorance, but malice. They quite literally wanted to Sovietize America. In a 1965 interview, Bettina Aptheker said that the American political landscape is the perfect one for communism because Americans believe that they live in a democracy.
Communist philosophy or socialism easily and has to adapt to the country in which it's taking place. In this country, there will never...
Let me, go ahead, Emma, mute yourself.
Thank you, sir. I'm trying to respond to the title. Should the Africans take a test on the civil rights movement before they could benefit? Is that the question you have? You hear me?
Should immigrants be tested on the civil rights movement before becoming U.S. citizens?
Yeah. I think they should. I think if they say they don't have any knowledge, like, you know, when you deal with law, when you deal with like the policies and law, they say ignorance is no excuse. Like, they should have did their due diligence before they came here. And then when they when they have this liberal praise, when they heap their praise, it seems like they not lacking information on white people when they give credit to like how the white man made it possible, who built America. Like, everything they should be given credit for, the civil rights movement, the Civil War, the abolitionist movement. It seems like they have amnesia, or they feel they claim they're ignorant about that, but everything else they want to claim, they give credit to the white man. So I think it shouldn't be a stipulation. I think the requirement should be, because even if they take the test or not take the test, if they get the knowledge, it's still like a one-way street. It should be some type of obligation on their end. Like, you know how Sierra Leone, they got I guess they used to allow people to get citizenship if they could prove they have some type of blood quotient in their lineage. It should be something they could prove over there that they should make available to us. Like, I was listening to the show yesterday, and the guy was talking about how they people did a coup and ran Black Americans out of Liberia. Yet at the same time, you have a problem with me telling you shouldn't be able to benefit off of us in here. Like, you didn't even want us over there. So I think the test or the stipulation should be they should have something available in their countries for us, and it should be like an equal exchange. It shouldn't be just, you know, they come and getting benefits because they just happen to have skin or some type of phenotype disposition, and they could just come in and get resources. But our phenotype disposition doesn't equate to anything over there. They don't. It's like, you got black skin, so what? Like, what's your bloodline? What's your tribe? Like, it don't really. It's not equal. But if they actually put forth effort in their countries to accommodate us, or to make some type of resources available, land available, then it won't be like they just taking advantage of us over here, or just taking advantage of whatever we provide. Even when we go to Africa, it's usually us spending money. It's not like they come and letting us see some of the gold mines or have some of the infrastructure projects or like be included in a business transaction. It's always us just giving and giving. Like I thought about this before I called up the show, and I want to ask this question, a general question. Can you name any Black American who success was contingent on Africa? Like something that Africa did that contributed to their success, be it economics, be it education, civil rights, participating in a war. But you can name like a plethora of, or thousands, maybe even millions of Africans who benefited in some type of way off of us. Like, when are they going to contribute something? But that's all I want to say, though. I don't want to take all the time.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Africa.
Yeah, greetings everyone, Brother Dines of the chat. Again, thank you very much. You're doing a great work because you know what, Dines, I'm not going to be here pretending to be, bootlicking or whatever. For a long time, I will study your work. You're one of the few panels out there that's actually grassroots, African American and Afrocentric panel, and you don't get a lot of shows like this out there, and people should really support this channel because it's really important.
With that being said, guys, make sure you hit that Cash App or the Super Chat, please, guys. Please support.
Yeah,
hit that Cash App and Super Chat. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So you what M said just now. I said it. Yes, I back it up again. I mean, it's sad. It's a sad reality. The same ethnic group who helped the Europeans, who tied most of the slaves on those boats, and collided with the Europeans during the transatlantic slavery. The same ethnic group who chased the Black Americans who came back to settle in Africa, and actually built a sophisticated economy and actually start doing something for once in the region. These are the same people who chase them out. And the sad thing is, they're not belong, they're not native to that region called Liberia themselves. But this is something we can learn from, I'm not saying this trying to denigrate someone ethnic group or whatever. It's just a history, it's a fact. Sometimes we just have to agree to our wrongdoing in the past to correct it moving forward. Civil rights, I think every African person who actually arrived in the UK, not just America, even in the UK, they should learn about civil rights. They should learn about civil rights. The reason why I'm saying this, because I'm seeing this manifesting itself in the country where I live. Okay, the Caribbean population been replaced by the because I don't know. I've been to America. I don't know a lot about America. Okay, I just like to talk from the country where I grew up and where I reside and how I've seen the changes. Okay, and I'm glad Brother Louis is here. He probably will back that up. I mean, look, the Afro-Caribbeans who are the Windrush generation who came here, they fight the battle. I live in a city where we had the Bristol bus boycott. Okay, they promoted today. The city is run by these bus stations, bus companies are run by Black people. That's their legacy. So every African migrant that migrated to the city, if they want to get a decent middle income job, they want to be a bus driver, and that's because of the Jamaicans and the Caribbeans who fought so hard, for them to be treated equally. And we have what they call the equality law. So basically, Afro-Caribbean people who came here, they fight so hard, with the civil rights movement in America, because the American civil rights movement did came to the UK and helped Black British. And yeah, it did pay off. Okay, it paid off big time for all the other African migrants who followed after, including Nigerians, Sierra Leoneans, Ghanaians. They all enjoy that freedom. But however, because we don't have the same history and the lived experience, like people from the Caribbean and African Americans who are direct, slave descendants, and understand them, because we Africans sometimes we can be quite narcissistic in nature. We don't have the ability to feel, someone else's pain. So we came here and trying to undermine them, trying to be more closer to the white man, take their jobs and backstab them and remove them from the scene. And most of these African politicians who replace the Caribbean politician in the UK at the moment, they actually trying and advocating to remove all the civil rights laws. This is coming, for example, we have the woman called Kemi Badenoch. She's Nigerian. Okay. She is actually advocating. She's not even the woman, the more she speaks, the more the white racist people actually hate black people. And she's trying to speak for the white racists. This is how much they don't like her. Okay, she trying to suck up to the racists. The racists is saying, "Shut up! We don't want you. We don't want nothing from you." She's actually pushing to remove the equality laws in the UK. He said it's rubbish. It shouldn't happen. So these are laws that African Caribbeans have fought for so hard. And I'm telling you, at the city where I live, when it was dominated by Jamaicans, you don't get disrespect from the locals. Well, since the African moved in, because they have lower self-esteem, they don't stand up for themselves. They yes sir, they're white worshippers. And I tell you what, black people being disrespected so much, is unbelievable. So all the hard work that the Afro Caribbeans have fought for in the UK is being eroded by the African migrants who came after them, who actually are not working with them.
Come on, brother.
But
That's too far. You're pushing it too far.
say
there.
again?
You're pushing it too far. The other side, bro. Yeah,
No. More, okay. Well, bring me to the middle, Louis. Yeah, okay, bring me to the middle. I like that. So yeah, they have, in cities in London might be slightly different because in London I think the Africans and the Jamaicans, the Caribbeans, they did work together a little bit more. Okay, and where the intermarriage and stuff like that. But outside London, it was a different whole scenario. That's my take on it. But bring me to the middle. I like to learn more. Thank you. I'll pass the mic. Thank you.
Yeah.
Go, hold on. It's go ahead, Elvis, and after Elvis is Louis and Jago. Unmute yourself, Elvis.
All right. Thank you, Dennis. Let me just say this, right? But when it comes to citizenship tests, I don't know if you ever seen one or if you understand what some of the questions are on the test. The question is about the history of the United States, the presidents, how the government is set up, who are the Supreme Court justices, things of that nature. That's what the citizenship consists of, or consist of, I should say. And what age is it to vote or and those kinds of things. So it really is a civic, test. But I think what he needs to advocate for is perhaps the curriculums of these schools that the immigrants tend to go to, because the teachers can only teach what the school district curriculum is to the students. So if your curriculum doesn't, have civil rights as one of the lessons for that year or whatever, you're not going to learn about it. But I was privileged. I went to an IB school, International Baccalaureate School, and we had a black, history teacher from Texas. His name is Mr. Johnson. Not Mr. Johnson, Mr. Brown. That's my other history teacher, Mr. Johnson. Both of them were black. And I learned about the civil rights movement, from my first year in high school, from freshman all the way up to senior year. It didn't dominate the curriculum, but certainly we had times where we learned about it, So we are taught about the civil rights movement. So your question, I guess you just got to specify your diagnosis. If you mean black immigrant, say black immigrants, because the Irish who went through some form of, discrimination in this country, not to the levels of, black people, they will never advocate that new Irish Americans should take a test that tells the history of the Irish and what they went through, or even the Italians American. They will never ask for their struggles in this country early on to be taught to new, Italian Americans when they become citizens. So I think what Last Alonso was trying to say, but he was kind of pussyfooting around it, is black immigrants. I think that's what he really wanted to say. Because what does a Polish person care about your history? If they're black, if they hate black people, they're going to hate you the same. You know, it's not going to take anything for them to see that you went through slavery. They might even make fun of you or be racist on that, you know, on that level. But my point here is, you know, the curriculum start there. If you have a local school district and you're part of the school boards, then we got to make sure that, you know, civil rights and Black history is taught. But for all my years in high school, I was taught civil rights and, you know, some Black history. It didn't, like I said, it didn't dominate our curriculum, you know, but we learned about, you know, the Mali Empire, Sangay Empire. As a freshman, I learned about those things. Some people say it's not usual in their curriculums, but in my school, we learned about it. So I'm well versed on the civil rights history, and I'm well versed on Black American history in this country. And outside of that, most people take the time to watch videos or read up on, you know, Black history in this country. They watch movies. They might watch a PBS documentary about the civil rights movement during Black History Month. So a lot of Black people are exposed to Black history in this country, Black immigrants in particular. And then lastly, to the guy who mentioned, you know, about my people, you know, taking out the African American or the American Liberians. Yes, we stand by that history. We're very proud of it. You know, they dominated the country for 133 years. They ostracized the native people. There are 16 tribes in Liberia. There are one group of people that stood up and said, no, we're not going to stand by. We're going to overthrow your government and change the system. And they did that. And I think the country is better off for it today in terms of democracy. So we make no apologies for it. If you're
Man,
butthurt about
Elvis,
it,
stop.
be
Elvis,
butthurt.
stop. Elvis, stop. The country's better off now.
You
Stop
too,
it.
Dynast. If you're
Elvis,
butthurt
stop.
about it,
That
be
is
butthurt.
the country's better off now. Nobody
I
believes
said in
that.
terms of democracy. Listen to
In
the words that I
terms of
said.
democracy, oh Lord. Elvis,
Yes, it is. We've had successive
I,
elections, peaceful
I got a headache
elections,
today.
and we've
Mm.
been going forward ever since. So that's my input. I'll pass the mic, man.
all right, go ahead, Louis.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
uh, a very good subject. I think we've had something similar to this before. Often when we have this sort of talk, we sort of go off a tangent a little bit, and that's why I was mentioning you, Africa. I've got a different take on our West Indian brothers and sisters here, who were the first because they were under the British, under the Commonwealth. Britain owned Jamaica. That's why even in recent time, Jamaicans are changing to be a republic and other Caribbean nations. It's a process, and Britain were responsible for those particular places and most of the Commonwealth countries. Don't forget, we were all under them up until 1957. And so they had a responsibility, which a lot of them British people knew because they were taught about empire. I understand where you're coming from, but where you got to realize the new crop of Black people who started coming in from Africa, in particular, in the last, I would say, 20, 15 years, they came over with a completely different view on life. For instance, when we came here, we started doing our paperwork in 1975. I didn't come to 1979. That's how strict the British people were. You couldn't just walk in. So when people protesting and moaning, they've got a point to prove. But that's because the white system in power, at play that runs the world wants to mix everybody up for some reason best unknown unto themselves. Because they've gone and taken other people's land. So they bring some of your people to their land so they can say, well, we're this and we're all the same. We're all from the center of. But no, that's just a way of getting rid of Black power. And they're making excuses they can come and take your shit in South Africa and other places. But I don't want to go off on a tangent. To answer the question direct to the brother M, who's always here to always manage to find a way to point the finger at Black Africans because he has a gripe. He's always got something to say, right? This is the simple answer is this. I'm not gonna lie to my brothers and sisters in America or anywhere else. It's time is for the truth. When we have the truth, we can move on. Okay, Black people in America do not have the power to enforce that you learn about civil rights. I learned about civil rights in England by a white teacher in school here. We played Stevie Wonder records, a particular one, "Living for the City." You know that song, Dennis? And the song on Inner Vision.
Stevie Wonder.
Yeah. Inner Vision. And he actually played it to us. Mr. Hall, his name was. Very good teacher. He taught us that. And then, you know, with what I was learning, that's when Roots was all on and so on. So I got to know more. Plus, I was a big fan of Muhammad Ali and everything. So, and my father would always play R&B music. So it was part of my learning process, but it was part of the curriculum here in England. So we've got a very good grasp of what was happening in America, because what was happening in America, they were using it here to learn about how to have cohesion with those of us from the Commonwealth countries who were going to be here, because they couldn't get rid of the Jamaican. In fact, they were part of British heritage, plus those of us coming from thing. So therefore, okay, let's best we work with them. Some very good white liberals who were cool on that. But at the back of our mind, we always knew that the system as a whole was a racist system. And there was only so much we could do in this country. And the West Indian brothers and sisters knew that. Because they were here first, they will let you know that. And they were the most conscious out of all the black people, more conscious than we were from Africa, because we had our own thing without white people. They had to live with them longer. So we learned that way. So I don't know why there was ever a conflict between some West Indian here and some Africans. I can understand, but I never come across that. And I come across the most conscious people from Barbados, Jamaica, and so on and so forth. But in answering the civil rights thing, Jamaicans could employ something like that because they run Jamaica. Okay, the people in Africa could employ something like that because they run Africa. Okay, the Black Americans should not give up on it, that they should run 3 or 4 or 5 states by themselves. Then they can employ that. But as it stands, when you want to be part of America, it devalues you. You want to be part of the white system, it devalues you because they ain't going to give you power. They don't share. They ain't sharing it in South Africa, with them idiot black people getting to find out, turning Zulus now full cool now. Okay, the reality is in America, we have the ball has been dropped. I said, I wish Carl would call him because he's the best for this. The ball has been dropped. We don't control who comes in and out of the country or who comes in and out of your neighborhood. As a result, it's not realistic, Dynasty, because we don't control that in America. If we had 3 or 5 states, as people were talking about in the 70s, that they run and control and could still be under America, which is not too late.
Give me a second. I put the link in the chat room, JC Inc. I put the link in the chat room already.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for the super chat. Dinus was Chad Jackson's video name. It's MLK's Complicated Legacy, an honest discussion. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so if it comes down to power, what you run and control. If black people run and control 3 or 5 states in America, 4 black people that they run and control always, okay, which I think they can fight for and they would get, right? I think it's going to be a long fight, but this generation has to be prepared to put their neck on the line. If they're not going to come back to Africa, this is what they should be fighting for, okay? If they're able to get that, then they can enforce those things. But until then, you can't, because being part of America and accepting America as it is, this is what happens. You get devalued. You get fooled into being part of the Democrats, and then when these Klansmen get into power, they put their foot down. Okay, and then you don't know where you're gonna turn to. You waiting for Black Lives Matter. Good luck to you. Okay, then these women are black women gonna sell you out all day long. They've been doing that from Adam and Eve's time. Okay, so you ain't gonna get nothing there. Civil rights is just a charade, because the civil rights that you fought for basically is what everybody else has around the world anyway. So it's like a fight for, it's like a fight. You just you
very well said.
What everybody else has got. So we're not doing this to put you down. You are our brothers and sisters. In order to lift you up, we got to tell you this. Okay, this is a reality. Those of you who want to stay in America, you've got to fight for 3 or 5 states that you fight for yourself, so that you can control who comes in and out. Then you can say who does this and that. Okay, but without that, it's a waste of time, because the white people. I mean, but like I said, someone said Polish person coming in just want to make money. He don't give a damn about civil rights. He just got to have a general knowledge. Yeah, there's the black people. They dance. Yeah, great, done. But unless you have power, so if you want to do that, you have to have power. You have to be able to control a piece of land somewhere that you run and control, whether it's a state or whatever. Apart from that, it's a waste of time, because we don't have power in America, and the white people ain't going to give it. They're not even giving it in South Africa. They're definitely not going to do it under this administration anyway in America. So that's my little contribution to that one.
All right, go ahead, Jagoon.
Thank you. Good evening to everybody. The platform, those looking on, and those in the comment section. Dynast, I must say,
can I say something?
Why am I always the first to be so rudely interrupted? Can you not wait, whoever you are? Very strange. Dennis, if I may continue.
I was here before you. I was here before Elvis. I was here before Al, but I was skipped.
Oh,
Okay.
I don't.
I think
Yeah,
I don't
because
know, but I think you in terms of when I came on, whoever was in front of me, my number stayed the same. So I'm sorry, I'm not the person who runs the show.
Yeah.
You,
Prince P, you're next. Go ahead, Jagu.
thank you, man. Aye, let me say a couple of things. Yesterday I was listening. I didn't come on, but I listened to the whole show. And there's somebody by the name of Bang. I don't know what he called himself yesterday, but I recognized his voice. And what he had to say has a lot to do with the present subject. I don't normally like what Bang has to say, even though I know he's young, and he has a drive within him. What he said yesterday regarding this subject, I think you should record it and play it every time you begin the show. It was that strong. He said clearly, as somebody who is African living in America, that the positioning of most African Americans who declare that somehow Africans need, as they're flying, consciously thinking about their pocket, consciously thinking about their success in another man's land, consciously thinking about how they're going to do this. To move into another country, especially from a third world into a so-called first world, is a strain. It's a serious strain on the psyche of any human being who endeavors to do that. It happened to my parents coming to England. I saw it. I saw it. Yet, there are African Americans who believe that they should further make that transition more painful. It's beyond me. It really is beyond me. The way you word your direction is completely ludicrous, as has been said by the last speaker. Now, the first speaker that you spoke to, when I listened to him, I'm thinking, are you out of your mind? You know, all people are people with pride. I don't know where your pride has gone, where it's so skewed that you believe that your existence over 400 years in the Americas, your oppression gives you the value point to separate further who we are as black people across the world. You separate yourself from the Caribbeans, and that blows my mind because the Caribbeans went through the same, if not worse than yourselves in America, because they were the first to be butt broken. They were the first to go through all the levels of machination in that when that took place in America. There was somebody by the name of Lynch, which is where the word lynching comes from. That guy, he was in the Caribbean lynching folk and learning all kinds of. Yet you still separate yourselves somehow from the Caribbean. For me, that's just freakish nonsense. But you guys live with it; it makes you happy. I can tell you that we in the diaspora, we across the continent that have an understanding of the history of African Americans, so called. We have learned a great deal from you. But in this generation, I'm afraid you guys are really, really turning the graves of your ancestors because you're all speaking rubbish with this FBA shit and the rest of the shit. And that's what it is, I'm afraid. I can never see it as anything else. Maybe you've been spiked by the CIA that confuses you to the point that you can come on a public show and believe that all black people in the world are ignorant, and now you have information to offer us. You don't have anything to offer us. What we see from our screens depicting African American culture, so called, is all shit. It's rubbish. It doesn't teach the world anything. Oh yeah, they're following our style. They're wearing Timberlands. They're wearing. For what are you talking about? Timberlands? They're wearing Timberlands. Timberlands ain't black owned. You bloody idiots. It's white owned, just like everything else. Just like everything else. Why do you persist in putting shit before someone like me and thinking I'm going to agree? I don't understand why you people do that. And it's a disgrace because I know it's not every African American who's like this. And that's why I have to be careful with the way I speak. Because I know the majority of black people who are in America and who are Americans, they don't think like you people. They don't think like you. But you're offering us this as a standard of this is how African American understanding is. Now, Dennis, before I go off tangent, to answer your question, should there be a test for Africans when coming into America that speaks about
not just Africans. We're talking about immigrants in general.
immigrants in general? Okay,
Yeah.
well that squares the
Yeah,
position.
well, M, he's so I don't know. He has so much animosity for Africa.
Well, I'm just giving it back to him. Let him eat it. Let him go and eat the one I've given him.
He just put the Africa. It's all immigrants.
Okay,
I see so much like
I'm with you.
for Africans to just.
I was going to expand. That if this test is going to take place, it shouldn't just be about our people. It should be about everything that has gone on in America. And there's a great deal that has gone on in America that needs serious understanding. Because if you understand America over the last 400 years and what the Europeans have done in that America, the United States of America, then I believe that you would understand better the world today. I believe it will be a good test, but I believe most people would fail that test in that they may know about the European conquest of America and have a full belief on it. Now, if you know about the white Americans and their history in America, then it is important because it follows alongside to have a great understanding of the Black American. Indeed, the initial Americans, because there's more information that is coming out about the history of the Americas before the white man landed, so to speak. You know, there's a lot to take in. So, you know, I believe, my final point, that the Black Americans who believe in this FBA bullshit and all the rest of the idiot rubbish, real rubbish, leaving to separate us. The gentleman mentioned earlier what's going on in South Africa with the xenophobia. It's the same injection that they are eating that is killing their mind sense and that is separating us from ourselves. It's a great shame. Let me say this finally, that the African American, over the years that I've lived, have been seen in my eyes as some of the greatest people in the world. That's how they have been seen. So my rhetoric that you're so weak, you're so lily-livered, that your backbone is not straight. Let me straighten it for you. Yeah? The way you people are behaving is like you're a children. You have so ghettoized your mentality that you speak the same rubbish ghetto that you live in. It's obvious to us that you haven't got an intellect. You don't have it. You just do not have it. You guys should go back to school yourselves before you ask anyone to take tests. Take tests about what? Rubbish. Get out. Thank you very much, Dennis.
No problem. Go ahead, Principe. Go ahead.
That's my London brother right there.
Principe, go ahead. We can't hear you.
Yes, what's up?
Yes, bro.
God bless y'all. You know, what up, Al?
Greetings, my brother.
Just look at the comment section. Just look how weak their back is. Laughable comments.
But salute to Diamonds. I disagree with my brother. Shout out to Al. Is M still on the platform?
No,
I think M is out, my bro. It's out.
Okay. But I disagree with our brother Jagon. I believe that there should be a test because a lot of the common person failed to understand that the America was greatly shaped and molded by a lot of black people who fought and try to push for laws and common rights that was not existent in the original America, that excluded a lot of immigrants, period, included a lot of us black individuals. So I think that should be a course or a teaching. But to Jargon's point, a lot of African Americans themselves don't even know the civil rights history, and they downplay it. You even got people bashing Martin Luther King all over the internet. So, if M was still on the platform, I'll ask him, what is the
That's not
percentage of
me,
the
bro.
common?
That's I hope you listen to everything I said, and not just the
No, no,
parts
no,
that break your back.
no, no.
Everything.
But I get what you're saying overall, because I greatly separate FBA from the overall African American
So did
group,
I.
because yeah, I know, I heard you. That's why I heard you. But I feel like you sometimes you take some of the arguments to make it seem like the civil rights shouldn't be a prerequisite or a established understanding to the, because
But
a lot of the comments.
if I may, I beg your pardon. I really do
Yes, sir.
apologize. I should give you
No, go
your
ahead, bro.
time. Thank you. You see, when it comes to the civil rights and what Martin Luther King has done, we grew up understanding that. Me as an individual, I learned about Martin Luther King way before I learned about the great Malcolm X. When I read Malcolm X and I saw the difference between them, you know, there's such a deep difference. Why do you speak about that and not about what Malcolm X's legacy? Marcus, you see, there's a great fight. I'll tell you this and land quickly. In my country, Nigeria, there was a philosophy of what took place in Ghana, which was really about our unity, and what took place in Nigeria from a gentleman by the name of Awolowo. He said, you can't have unity around nothing. We have to build our economic force first before we have any kind of unity. Now, as we have grown, that particular level of about our economics, which is for us to own our economics, was far more important than just unifying around a stupid fire that means nothing.
Nothing.
So I'll leave you with that understanding.
Yeah, we forget the basics.
No, but you got to remember too, if you go to America today as a Haitian American in America, you'll see that there's a lot of laws that backs the right of the common American person, especially Black America. It's basically Martin Luther King who pushed that. Although Malcolm X is a powerful individual, a powerful Black man who impact the world. When you come to America, the laws, the legislation that protect you from different rights and laws is laws and rights that were backed by the civil rights movement, backed by Martin Luther King, backed by SNCC and all these other groups that push for that. And then when you talk about integration or whatever, integration doesn't stop Black people from coordinating and maintaining their own businesses. Because if you look at the other communities, first off, Black Americans had that before that. And if you look at the other communities, the Mexicans, the Italians, the Jewish people, they all somehow still have a strong base in America despite integration. So it doesn't mean that you have to give up your community or your economy or anything like that. It's just some of us, especially some of our Black American brothers, some of them wanted to be a part of the greater society, that they abandoned some of the key things. That's why I wanted M to be here, because he sidesteps that fact in reality. You know what I mean? But you can keep going, brother. But I get your point. But it's a lot of it is like even I believe the common Black American person don't even know civil rights. That's why some of them are even bashing civil rights. That's why I wanted M on the platform, because he's making it seem as if African Americans are more knowledgeable in civil rights than the common foreign Black person. But the common foreign Black person have more respect for HBCUs, have more respect for a lot of these Black civil rights leaders than some of the common African American individuals that come on and bash it, especially the FBA types. But I'm gonna pass the mic.
Thank you, sir.
All right, guys, hit that like button. Please hit that like button. Shout out Quincy. You're up.
Yeah, man, it's hard to listen to some of these folks, man. So we have clear words for Black people who aren't proud to be Black and really ride for white people. We have identifiers for that, but there does need to be a word for,
Hey,
Black
guys,
America.
one second. I have to go pick up my son from track practice, so I'll be back in like 20 minutes. Is that cool?
It's
that's
cool
fine.
if there's
That's
somebody
cool, that's
who's
cool.
looking after the place. I think Africa likes that job.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll be back in like 25 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, let me finish. So, yeah, we have words for Black people who lack racial self-esteem and pretty much sell out for white folks and throw Black people under the bus for white folks. There does need to be a word for Black Americans who throw Black Americans under the bus for the diaspora because you don't have ethnic. You're not proud to be a Black American. You don't value what's happened on this soil for the last 400 or 500 years. You know, you want to reach all the way over across the ocean for pride. It's just sad to listen to sometimes. The next thing is how Black Americans choose to identify. Hey, I didn't interrupt. I ain't interrupt anybody.
Let him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cut you.
Yeah, I didn't interrupt anybody. How Black Americans choose to identify is nobody's business but Black Americans. If other Black Americans, if other Black Americans choose to not agree with it, that's an in-house conversation. Every conversation involving every topic involving Black Americans isn't a public discussion for the whole diaspora to give their two cents.
It is a public discussion. That's what we're all doing here. We talking about? No, don't worry about it. I'm just wondering what he's talking about. I don't get you, brother. You don't have to interrupt me. I'm interrupting you. I don't get what you're saying.
If Nigerians and Igbos and Yorubas are having a discussion on what they want to call themselves, that's nobody else's business, and I doubt you all would condone other people.
That's your way. We've got strong enough backbone to take anybody's language.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, big man.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah,
shit, man.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Go on.
Yeah, if tribes on the continent are having discussions on how they want to identify and how they want to deal with their cultural boundaries, I seriously doubt that it would be accepted for that to be viewed as an open communal diaspora conversation where everybody's opinion is supposed to be received evenly. It's none of our business how they identify and what they do over there. Just as when Black Americans are discussing what we got going on, it ain't none of y'all business. And this is the biggest thing, and it goes back to the topic.
Right.
The biggest problem is that yes, everybody needs to learn Black American history when you come and try to get your citizenship here. Because the biggest problem is that, and we see this on this panel countless times, we see this honestly with everybody. People think that because they listen to rap, because they watched I Have a Dream speech, because they watched a documentary, because they watched the Fresh Prince, suddenly you're an authority on us. And the more you talk, the more we realize you don't know shit about us. You don't know, you know some of the cliff notes, but you don't know nothing. You don't know us. You don't know nothing about, say, Macon, Georgia, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Orangeburg, South Carolina. All of this stuff where the Black Americans are deep in the South. The vast majority of Black American and Black American history happened in the South. Y'all sit here and listen. Respect to all of the I say the highlights. The highlights of Black American history. Respect to all of that. But there's so much that's left out of, and people think that because they consume us as media, you watch us on TV, you listen to our music, suddenly you're an authority on us. And when we're speaking, you walk in, and this ain't just to the stupid ass London dude. This is just in general. This is something that I've noticed in the last 8 years since I've kind of just been on this journey, and really that I've been more like listening to more Africans and Caribbeans, and since I've been on this journey, it's just blown my mind how everybody feels like their opinion has the same weight about us when we're talking about us. Everybody acts like anything to do with Black Americans is a town hall discussion for everybody to get their opinion on. Even if you've never been to America, even if you never met a Black American in person, people are called from overseas to talk about Black Americans amongst Black Americans and act like your opinion holds any weight. It don't. Just as I'm not in London, I'm not a Nigerian in London. You know what I wouldn't do? I wouldn't get on a panel with a bunch of Nigerians in London and call in and act like my opinion has just as much authority as theirs do. I don't. You know why? Because a lot of times, y'all, as much as y'all disrespect Black Americans, we don't act like we know everything about everybody. Even though everybody gets, and you know how I know that everybody knows this? Because y'all get mad that we don't know about y'all. Y'all get angry. Y'all call us ignorant Americans because we don't know everything about this tribe, everything about that country. Even though the thing is, we're in a unique position in America, right? It's specifically when you compare us to the rest of the diaspora. Outside of maybe South Africa is a close second. Black Americans are in a country where immigrants from all over the world, including Black immigrants, flock to. right? So one day I might meet a Mexican. The next day I would meet a Ghanaian. The next day I meet a Jamaican. The next day we'll talk to everybody from all across the world, and everybody expects us to know everything about everybody, which is ridiculous. Which is ridiculous. Let me just my last thing, and I'm close. So which is ridiculous, but it goes to the point of people expect for us to know everything about them when we just don't. When we don't, and therefore, when you all are talking about your stuff, we listen. You know why? Because we know we don't know you. You know, I could watch, I started out watching Dynasty's channel years ago when he was going to Africa and doing the vlogs and stuff. You know, I started out like I listen. I'm going in with an open mind, knowing that I don't know these people. I met some, you know, in passing, worked with some, went to school with some, whatever. But overall, I don't know. So I'm gonna watch their channel, not just Dynasty, but I'm gonna watch some Nigerian channels. I'm gonna watch some Ghanaians, some Jamaicans channels. I'm gonna watch different channels because I'm listening to learn. Never would I ever walk into their spaces when they're discussing their culture amongst each other and try to act like I'm an authority and tell them what it is. And I'm telling this. I promise I'm done after this. And I promise you, the reason why there's so much turmoil with these diaspora wars is because folks do not respect Black Americans. They think they know more than us about us, and as long as that attitude continues to exist, as long as we continue to experience that, then it's all FBA. I'm telling y'all, FBAs grow stronger by the day every time they listen to somebody trying to tell us about us, and you ain't even over here. You ain't even grow up with us. And even if you did, you still ain't us. Because you didn't grow up in a Black American household. You grew up in a household eating the goosey soup or whatever. You grew up in the household eating ackee fish. You know what I mean? You grew up in the household eating plantains. That ain't Black American. That ain't Black. You did. Your culture is what you learned in your household. So
well done, bro. Well done.
I'm done.
Well done. Mr. Moderator, can I come in real quick?
Yeah, got quick 1 second because it was my turn, but I'll let you respond.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to ask you a question, but I forgot it. Mr. Quincy, I hope you stick around. I value what you said, but you were extremely repetitive. I thought you was going to actually grow your argument. Now, let me tell you something, sir. When you are an American, as an American, you are the #1 citizens of the whole planet. Are you aware of that responsibility? The #1 citizens of the whole planet. So to be ignorant, I'm afraid, is not good enough. It's not good enough. In the UK, because I grew up in the UK, if I grew up in Nigeria, I would have been a lot more ignorant about the world than I am now that I've grown up in the UK. Because I've grown up in the UK and I've had a sound education, then I educated myself upon what is going on around this globe and how does it affect me as a human being of my type, which is African, Black. So then I look at the history. Now, you were speaking about the levels of immigrants that you have in America. It's the same of the UK. If we're not more integrated than places like America. When you speak about Mexicans, do you know that the white European who came from over this side went there and closed off the country, bought the whole Texas scenario? They threw Mexicans out of that territory and made it America. They paid for some of it, and the rest of it, they're swindled. Now, I know this history. I reckon I can sit down with you. Me and you will take the same test, and I will trounce you according to American history. Don't even speak about world history, because I know the schooling in this country, and I know how it's varied and biased to European. But what we do in the UK, as far as Black people who have grown up here, we educate ourselves and we make sure that we are sound in our knowledge about our people and the trauma that has affected all of us in this world. So before you start inviting me to your conversation, like I need an invitation to be Black, I don't want to be rude. My good man, I really don't want to be.
I'm
I'm going to end right now. I don't want to be rude, My consciousness about black people all around the world is that we are one. Those who endeavor to break us up into pieces that make us weak, I can't stand you in your politics, not in your person. I'm sure I'm an extremely likable guy and I'm an extremely connected person. If me and you met each other tomorrow, we'll be friends. But your politics and what you have to say, bruh, I'll chop it into pieces. All you're telling me is how your emotion is. You're telling me I'm hurt. I don't want to be spoken to like this. It's babyish.
All right.
I'm not a
Yeah. Okay.
baby. I'm a big man.
Fine.
And so when you're
Okay.
coming to when you're coming to an international station, none of us need invitations. You understand? I don't need an invitation. I'm not asking you for any invitation about don't say this and rubbish. That's not an argument, I'm afraid. It's just emotion. Thank
Fair
you.
enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, you know what, Quincy, I understand where you're coming from. You know, I definitely understand. I think, you know, for the last few years being online, you know, even me, you know, the xenophobia between the black community is unbelievable. There's so many division between the black community. It's unbelievable. I mean, you start from Africa, we're divided. You go to, you know, you go to America, we're divided. You come to Europe, it's getting better. But Europe was, you know, in the UK, we was heavily divided back in the days. When growing up in the UK, we had the Somalis against the Jamaicans, the Africans against the Jamaicans, and the Jamaicans against this lot. It's all black group fighting each other. But today, you know, giving you an example from us in the UK here, we regretted that. We wish all those beef back in the days didn't happen. That we unite as one people and actually fought the common enemy. You know, because the reality is we know, you know, the people that put us in this situation where we find ourselves. And I understand. Look, you know, I think they should. I think everyone that goes to America, you know, everyone that goes to America should learn about the civil rights movement, including the other migrant that goes there, because they can understand where the freedom that they're enjoying, where it comes from. In the UK, to be a British citizen, you have to pass a UK test. And in fact, they are teaching some of the kids now, you know, in the UK, in the schools, some of about, you know, about civil rights movement. My kids, my boys learn about it. So why can't, you know, you know, why can't they? Why can't they? Why can't the immigrant that goes to America who are enjoying the civil rights movement learn about where this freedom actually stems from? Who are the people that fought for those freedom? So they could appreciate it more. And I see, listen, Africans need to stop this. African Americans, I think, are one of the greatest black people, you know, that we have at this time, you know, for the last how many years. You know, the only people that actually have anything to boast of, African Americans, are the ancestors who built those empires, you know, like the Takuru Kingdom, the
Oh,
Ghana Empire, the Mali Empire, the Oyo, you know, and and the Benin. These are the people that can say, yeah, we would, so you know, those the days that could say, yeah, we're the black people who did better than African Americans. But other than that, really truly, in the entire black community in the world, we have nothing to show off against African Americans. You know, I'm from Sierra Leone. I know Liberia is next door. We know African Americans who came to Sierra Leone and Liberia. They build from the ground up, and they build economies. They help educate the locals. I can see what you guys about. I know what you are capable of, but other Africans don't. And sometimes also, you know, so we black people get so emotional. That's what Jakun was saying. We miss the big points. Like, you know, come on, you know, let's not get emotional. The problem is we're facing the common enemy here. Obviously, FBA movement is not all black Americans. Most black Americans probably don't even know what FBA movement is, or they don't even follow it. But I can see why FBA movement is coming, where it's coming from, because I see a lot of Pan Africans attacking FBAs. It's like, what are you talking about? Do you know what Pan Africanism is? Pan Africanism started around Sierra Leone, Liberia. These are African Americans, you know, who brought these things from the US. And actually, because Africans were more into kingdoms and tribe and region instead of being Pan Africanism. So what are you doing? Contradicting yourself. You know, so in this day and age, we have nothing to show off for African Americans. African Americans, you have more opportunities. you have more chance of uniting the entire black race. You have more chance of spreading the knowledge. Jakun, the Sierra Leoneans who the African Americans and the Maroons who migrated to Sierra Leone built the first modern black university in the entire black world in Africa, from a college. And a lot of your people, they benefited a lot from that university. And they actually went to where you call modern day Lagos, and they taught people how to do modern day skillful things like building nice infrastructure. You can see how look like Nigeria to the southwest, like Lagos is one of the most developed cities. That's part of the legacy. So these people have done their bits. I mean, Liberia was unfortunate because some people decided to trash it because they see African Americans as enemies. But us as Sierra Leone, we didn't. We embraced them. We learned from it. So the reality is, we just need to work with each other. We need to listen. We need to build economy. As you said earlier about Awolowo, I read that. If we don't have anything to unite us, we don't have that to unite us, something to unite us. We're gonna fight and tear each other apart.
Do you know why he said
Now,
that?
pass the
He
mic.
said that because.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on. Somebody go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to say something to Al. I think it's a
Yeah.
two-way street, because even with Quincy
Yeah.
here, for him to be in
Mm.
order to be a good hold on, mama, hold on, mama. In order to be a good leader, and in terms of when these foreign blacks come here, he has to know something about their history as well. So it's a give and take. So one of the reasons why there's
Why?
what you say?
I said why, and it goes back to the question what I mentioned earlier. We meet everybody, so this expectation that we need to know everything about everybody is an unrealistic expectation to put on Black Americans. Now,
No, not
granted,
every, you
if
don't
I
need to know
encounter
everything. You need to know something. The same way certain Europeans that I meet, they'll know a little bit of something about where I come from or where other people come from, and they utilize that as a mechanism to connect with you. So if you guys are talking about building back a stronger black community under the tutelage of African Americans, you have to somewhat learn different elements about the other people of the black world too. Some of the
not
greatest
necessarily.
people that hold on. Some of the greatest people that I've met in terms of building a bridge and making me feel connected to the African American community, who are Pan-Africanist Black American types, because they'll know a little bit of something about where you come from. They know a little something about your food. They know a little something about your history, right?
Mm.
And to Al, I kind of disagree. I feel like every black group fought. That's why I believe that the civil rights movement should be taught, because a lot of people downplay the great elements in which African Americans have to resist to even stand on their 2 feet. You see what I'm saying? Because some people have given more credence to all these other groups, but these guys are in the belly of the beast. They fought and they stood. The same way a lot of people undermine or minimize the contribution of Africans to their own liberation movement. There was a guy named, I think, Prince Alfred or something like that. Something like that. He was from Ghana. He was trying to do a back to Africa movement in the 1900s in Oklahoma. One of the reasons why he wasn't successful was bless you, mama. Bless you, mama.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah. One of the reasons he wasn't successful is because it was a lack of connection with the people back home, and on top of that, there was it was under colonization. So the British and those individuals still had a stronghold in Ghana, right? So if Africans didn't fight and resist and demand their own liberation, their own right to rule, the Africa that you see today wouldn't exist. If African Americans didn't fight and demand their own right to rule and rights and civil rights, America wouldn't be the same America that exists today. So we have to respect each other's fight. You know what I mean? That's my main point. But I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, let me.
Thank you for that. Sorry, do you mind? Sorry, I don't. Quincy.
No,
I beg
it's
your
my
pardon.
turn. It's my turn. It
I
was
don't know
you, then it was
where
Africa, and then Principal, and then it's me. We go in
I
order, right?
actually spoke before
No,
you, but
I
go ahead.
think,
No,
I think,
you go ahead, sir.
I think
You go ahead.
I think it was
You're
Jagoon. I
obviously
think it
more
was
important.
Jagoon. Sorry. I think it was Jagoon next. Sorry, he
It is me,
interrupted.
but let him go ahead. No problem.
It was
Okay,
Jagoon, and
thank you,
then
Jagoon.
Africa, and then Principal Devon, and then I was supposed to be next. Okay, so
Yeah, go on.
so in theory, I'm here on a Pan African channel, right?
Yeah.
So I'm obviously not somebody who don't want to learn about the diaspora, right? Else I wouldn't be here, right? But that is voluntary. That's voluntarily, right? Is it good to know more about more people? Of course it is. Of course it is. But I think those who are on Pan-Africanism and want to be on that, more power to them, right? But it's like there's little wiggle room for those who aren't. I'm from a small town in Georgia. I promise to God, those people ain't thinking about no Africans. They ain't thinking about no Pan-Africans. Them folks thinking about their job. They thinking about paying their bills. They thinking about taking care of their kids. I mean, Pan-Africanism, Africans are like the furthest thing from their mind. And I think Pan-Africans overestimate, and this ain't no disrespect to the diaspora, but I think Pan-Africans in the diaspora overestimate how much the average Black American thinks about you, right? And like I said, no disrespect. Like unless you up in New York, where it's like
can I just ask you? Can I ask you a question?
Let me complete the thought. Let me complete this up, and you got it.
Unless
you're up in New York or like down in Florida, where it's a lot of Caribbeans, or unless you're in certain pockets where you run into them all the time, then maybe it'll be on your mind. But even then, it ain't really on your mind. It's probably the kid at school, or if you go to a birthday party and run into somebody. But it's more of like a, hey, I met a Ghanaian. Okay, cool. That's okay, cool. I met a Ghanaian, and they back to what they're doing. We got a lot to deal with over here. A lot. And to kind of put this burden, this extra burden on us. Like I said,
Sorry. I did want to ask you.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question now. We're having a discussion. Let me ask you a question.
Let him land. He's almost
let him land.
I know where he's going.
I'm just saying for those who want to take on that task, more power to you. Go for it. But most people aren't. Most people aren't. Most people thinking about, like me. I come from a small town from the hood, right? Grew up, made something myself.
You're repeating yourself, right? Bro.
No. I'm trying to make a point. So when I give back, I'm not giving back to Africa. I'm giving back to my neighborhood, so the next little boy who grew up in my neighborhood will have a chance in my neighborhood in a little town in Georgia. I'm not giving back across the seas. I'm not focusing on because if Black Americans want to focus on overseas, we're skipping right over the younger version of ourselves in our old neighborhoods. And most Black Americans reinvest back in themselves before they ever think about Africa. So that's all, man. That's all. Reading a book it ain't a lived experience. Watching the documentary.
Let's communicate. There's only a few of us here.
Go for it.
One, Mr. Moderator. One, I've got things to say, so but I want to ask my man a question. You see, with the way you've just spoken, and basically letting us know that the fact that you're inside America and the living in America is tough, no doubt. Living anywhere in the world is tough. Believe me, we all have our own shit to deal with. However, with the degree of importance that you lay on self emancipation or self growth within your own country, do you not see that the fact that other people in the world have a different way of understanding things than you do? Do you not see the fracture there? I'm asking you.
Yes.
Or do you? Now, with that fracture, if there's somebody in the other side of the world who has, probably the difference between an American and a Russian. I know what the Russian education system is like, and I know what the American education system is like. And the Russian education system is more broad, which is to say that everybody's educated to a certain high level. Whereas in America, the level of education is skewed to the fact that 10 to 1% are highly educated. And then there's a middle group, I suppose, and then the rest is thrown away, as it were, in terms of education. Now,
which school did you go to in America?
No, but please don't ask me questions like that, because you're gonna just go on one tangent. I'm explaining the differences.
Right? I'm asking,
what I'm doing. See, I'm trying to ask you a question, and before you answer it, you're asking me a question.
Okay, what's the question?
The question is for you. You get me? I'm saying I know the American education system. I know how and what it is, because I've met extremely amount of Americans and I've spoken to them. They're my friends. You understand? So don't be pinickety. Let's be grown up. You get me? Let's be grown up. So I'm comparing what I'm doing.
Second-hand account don't mean you know.
All right, thank you. What I'm giving you is a comparison between the American education as a whole and the Russian education system as a whole. And I know
you went to school in Russia. You went to school in Russia.
Again, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. I know a lot of Russians. I know a lot of them. You understand?
Okay.
I've been to Russia several times.
But wait, did you go to school in Russia?
No, I didn't, bruv.
Okay,
Is that
keep going.
it? Are you going to penalize me now?
Okay. I'm just saying you get a lot of
God,
secondhand knowledge.
let me ask you the question, bruv.
Okay, ask the question, man.
I just want to ask you a question, bruv. Don't make it too difficult. I'm giving you an explanation.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on.
How can you move on when I haven't asked a question? Is that moderation? I thought that you knew what you were doing. Bruv,
No,
please.
it's because I don't want us to tangle up because we're repeating ourselves.
It won't. As I said, there's only 4 of us here. I'm trying to give him an understanding that we all know in this world, we all know that in America, the political level has broken the education system. If you look at,
I know, I agree with that.
Well, let me just land, bruh. If you look at the education system in the 1920s to the 1940s, especially to do with black people and how they were educating themselves, it was at a much higher level than today. We know this. I'm saying that the reason why you're not able to think, as you put it, about other things that are going on in the world, and you can only think about your neighborhood.
So you gonna tell me why? So you gonna tell me why? Okay.
Yes, I will. Yes,
okay.
I'll say that is
tell me why. Tell me why I can't think. Tell me why I can't think.
Exactly. You said it. You said it, brother. I didn't say it.
Please tell me. Please tell me.
I just said it. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying that difference in education is what we are seeing on the TV. Is what we look at when we look at Black America. We see the breakdown of education. You can look at a black and white movie that is depicting pure black people, and no matter their cadence, what they have to say and what they are saying in terms of their intellect is far greater than any hip hop video. Far greater.
Cool.
No, whether you accept that or not is up to you.
Hip-hop video.
That's my comparison, brother.
That's the
my
summation of Black America now. Okay.
Anyway,
can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Sure thing,
Can I ask you a question?
Sure thing.
It's 2 questions. Okay, 2 questions. The first question is, what is your goal when you speak the way that you speak in these conversations on Dynasty's platform?
You know
what's your goal?
Okay, thank you. That's a good question. As I said, I am a black person that loves black people, and I see black people as being underlings everywhere in the world. Everywhere I've traveled to, and I'm a vastly traveled person, I see us doing all kinds of awful jobs, awful experiences until we grow out of that. You get me? So what I've done with my life as a man who is 59 years old right now, yeah, what I've done with my life, I've opened several companies. One of them was called UK Black Links. The other one was called Africa Expo. Now, these companies was to pool centrally our financing together, because I believe in black economics is the only way we're going to get out of this shit that we are in globally. That is my goal. So when it comes to speaking to Americans who I've learned from all of my life, I don't like the level of the kind of intellect that the Americans are showing me of your generation. I don't like it.
You don't even know how old I am.
But Jago, you don't think you're generalizing though? You don't think you're
Yeah,
generalizing?
maybe. You know what can we do? You know, in this life, if we tell ourselves about the truth about things that generalization is a point of reference. We can't and shouldn't always generalize, and generalizing can be dangerous, but we must generalize if we're to get a picture of what is going on.
Okay, second question, follow-up question. Do you think your approach is effective in accomplishing that goal?
I don't know if it's effective, Brad, to tell the truth, but I'm as human as you are. So, you know, when I can intellectualize my pain. I can turn my pain into words, and the words make sense. If they don't make sense because you can't intellectualize your pain, I can't do nothing about that, mate.
Okay, can I come in?
Well, let me just. I just want to land.
Okay.
Because I asked those 2 questions on purpose, right?
No problem.
So these conversations are voluntary, right? Nobody's required to have these conversations. They're all people who choosing to come to these platforms and choosing to engage with those across the pond or on a continent or in the West Indies. We're all choosing to have these conversations, right? Now, a lot of people aren't choosing. A lot of people may have chosen beforehand and ran into somebody like Jagoon and said to hell with it and went full-fledged extremist FBA, right? Which I do acknowledge that exists, right? So what I'm saying is nobody has to listen to anybody, right?
That's
Right. So
man.
right.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
I'm not. That's what I said, bro. I'm not trying to appeal. I think that when I come on these channels, that I'm having a conversation with grown-ups, and as I said, there are certain things that are in my mind already. I come like this. You understand? It is not only here that this is my level of performance. It is in every walk of life I'm in. If I'm in a business meeting and I'm speaking to crazy people, I'm fucking them off straight away. I've traveled to Japan and I held a meeting with 200 delegates of the likes of Sony, Mitsubishi, the biggest companies. And I don't speak Japanese, but the way I spoke with them, they loved me because I was these.
but
These are
they had to be there. I'm assuming they had to
because
be in those meetings.
wait, please.
Those
Sorry,
weren't voluntary meetings.
I do beg your pardon. These people were people of honor and people that won't lie to themselves and people that don't look at their emotion as the first thing on the page. They don't do that. So when they heard from me, they knew who I was. They knew who I was. You knowing who I am, you're disturbed. You're disturbed by the amount of truth I can bring to the table.
No, I'm actually
That
not
is your
disturbed.
problem, not mine. It's your problem, bruh, not mine.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. I'm
He
saying all
hasn't said
that.
anything that was extreme or anything. He just said simple stuff
Yeah,
like he's concerned about his own
yeah.
individual community first, which is the common person, Haitian, Jamaican, Nigerian, Igbo. They're concerned about their community first. That's nothing extreme that he's saying.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Can I?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, man. I mean, this is that's why I said we're going around the circle. Yeah. It's basically see. This is a problem that we face as I said earlier. We always find reason to divide ourselves, than to unite ourselves, and it's just not right. It's not right because I can say, listen, it's principle. I'm glad I was born in and raised in a country where I have, the African culture, I have the African American culture and the Caribbean culture, which is Freetown in Sierra Leone. Freetown is a mixture of all those things because Sierra Leone culture is very similar to Barbados. We do that in school, okay? I've seen it all, and I can see why some African Americans have culture clash with the Africans. I can see why some Africans have culture clash with the diaspora, the African Americans, because it's the unknown.
All right, hey
And I
guys,
can understand
I'm
those.
back. Let me read these
Yeah.
super chats. I gotta pass the mic.
Yeah.
JC
Okay.
thank you for 999 holla. French General Donatende Rochambeau in Haiti was known for extreme brutalities and atrocities such as torture, drowning Haitians, and deploying attack dogs. FBAs, please stop it. We went through it. All right, Invisible Man, go ahead. Invisible Man.
Yeah, I had to unmute myself.
ahead.
I want to go point by point of the discussion that I've been listening to. And firstly, answer the question that you put forth, the citizen test of Black Americans. I have never seen a citizen test, so I don't know what's on there, whether it's just how the government works or the historical aspects of it. If there are historical aspects, then maybe there should be a question or two based upon what Blacks have contributed to the government and societal actions of the United States, because it is considerable. Secondly, I think Alonso was speaking about every immigrant, not just about Black immigrants coming from the Caribbean or from African nations. So now I'm going to move on to some points that I've heard that were being discussed. The Martin versus Malcolm debate. Those two understood, they met. And Malcolm even said it would not be beneficial for you to be seen with me in public. In the end, or in the middle, I don't know when they came to this conclusion, but they did come to the conclusion that they were working for the same thing. Martin may have been looking at civil rights, but he came around to the point of economics at some point, and he agreed. They agreed. And Malcolm is the one that said to him, I don't think it would be beneficial for you to be seen with me, because he understood. He was a lightning rod. Okay, so the question I have, and maybe I should leave this to the end, but I'm going to ask it now, because there seems to be an issue with Black Americans that claim they were foundational to the society, the economics of the United States. And I would ask, in comparison, are there separatism? Is there separatism going on amongst tribes and religions in Africa? Because right now you have Nigerians that are Islamists that are killing Christians. Ghanaians want Nigerians out. Liberia invaded Sierra Leone. So can you really always just conclude that Black people who claim to be FBA are some type of separatist when amongst your own countries, within your own countries, you have the very same thing that is going on? So this argument about you hate FBAs because what they stand for, to me, is a false equivalency, because it's going on in your country. Now, the people on this panel, moving on to another,
you're comparing FBA to extremists, man. Why would you use extremists?
Hold on, my man. All right, because I am 68 years old. I grew up during the Pan-African movement. In my high school, we discussed Pan-Africanism. And I think M asked a very important question. Has Africa contributed to things that were going on in the United States, or has it been a one-sided agreement? Now, let me move on to the next thing, because people on this panel have more than once told Americans that on African issues, hey, this is about Africa. We don't need your input. And I believe people.
That's never been said. Never. That's a lie. That's a blatant lie.
I think the
that's rubbish. Don't come and lie. Don't come and lie just to defend your word. Just use your word properly. You're a liar. Nothing you're saying, nothing that you're saying anymore. That every African that has spoken on this channel are in full support of African Americans.
Hey, Jagoon, don't interrupt him. Go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt, bro, but I can't stand people lying. That's a lie.
Are you from London, Jagoon?
What does that matter?
Because are you the one that talks about the Smokey Robinson looking Americans?
No, I'm not him. I'm not him. Don't accuse me of rubbish.
Okay,
which will be a second lie.
Okay, so here's the other thing.
Liar.
Listen,
you're lying, bro. You're lying.
You have said
Dynasty's back. Dynasty's back. We don't need to hear your voice anymore. Yeah, sorry. I beg your pardon.
In the entire conversation, you have told Quincy that he's emotional. I bring up one thing that can be confirmed on playback, and you just get beside yourself.
Yeah. I did say that. I did say that. At least that's the truth. At least you're saying the truth now.
Okay, so now let me go to Pan-Africanism versus Pan-Black Americanism. As I said, I grew up in a time in the 60s and 70s when Pan-Africanism was huge, and it was all about trying to do things for Africa with Africans, right? And now all of a sudden, and I understand that over the span of 50 years, that words change, meanings to words change, and ideologies change. And people have said Pan-African is it's more about doing what we can in America. That was not the initial phase of it, even when Marcus Garvey or the person from Sierra Leone that started it. It was all about doing things for the continent of Africa and Black people trying to either go back or make improvements in Africa. All right. So here's what my thing is, and what Quincy said, and I believe what M has said, is that we in the United States that are Black need to focus on pan-Black Americanism before we go off and start talking about what we can do for Africa. Let me add a caveat to that, because I've been to probably 5 countries in Africa, and I have always been somebody who wanted to promote business and connections to Africa, because it is, as Yu Jagun has said, and I agree with you, that one of the ways that we improve our wealth around the country is to do business with each other. And that is to look at Black businesses in the United States that can do things in Africa and around the world, in the Caribbean. But to label it Pan-African, that's not what business people see. When you went to Africa or China, you weren't thinking, or Japan, you weren't thinking about some Pan-Africans. You're a businessman, and that's how business people operate.
Indeed.
2 more things. There's not going to be any Black states in the United States. So what Black people have learned to do over the course of 400 to 500 years in this country is to grow within the system. I have been on this panel before, and I have stated that there are huge multinational Black-owned companies. And you, Jagun, who says you have an organization that reaches out, maybe it would behoove you to reach out to some of those organizations, some of the HBCUs, of which my father attended the very first Wilberforce in the United
bro,
States.
I hear you saying. I hear what you're saying, brother.
Okay,
but
finally,
you have no idea what I've done. You have no idea.
Listen, I didn't challenge you saying that you didn't do anything.
I
said
understand that you
maybe it would
agree.
grow.
Okay, I beg your
All right,
pardon. Go ahead.
Finally, this TV versus reality of what Americans, of what you see Americans do, what Africans see Americans do, is unrealistic. That is not what the majority of Black Americans do. I happen to come from an upper middle class family.
Well done.
I mean, my mother and father, but I have family that is that is poor to very wealthy. And when I say very wealthy, rich.
I hear you, man.
So if you're gonna say, and the only thing that people are gonna criticize Black Americans over, and this is what Quincy was talking about, is what you see on TV, then how would you feel if what Black Americans would say, this is what I think of all Africans? Because I just saw a documentary yesterday on Africa that would just make people around the world say they haven't advanced one iota. But we have
Mr. Invisible Man. Mr. Invisible Man, may I ask you a question, sir?
Sure. Because that
Thank
was
you
my
very
last
much.
point. That was my last
Thank you very much. Now, I just want to ask you, especially at your age, your age is very close to mine. And in that, we grew up in the UK, and the amount of rhetoric and racism that we received from our own people because of ignorance, because of the television, we've eaten all of that. You didn't hear anything from us. You didn't hear anything. When now growing up, in America, they call them African booty scratchers. Here, we are much more creative. So the level of names that I was called is beyond. But I was unpaid. People couldn't tackle me as an individual because I grew up with a lot of pride. Now, my question, sir, is the level of ignorance that we show each other. Is it not time to quash it? That's my request. Or that's what I'm asking you, because you believe that only you have gone through that.
No, no, nobody believes that. Nobody,
Okay, okay.
nobody that
But you put it
is.
up.
I'm sorry if that's what you thought I said, then let me clarify. I don't believe what you just claimed that you think I said. All right. I agree with you that we need to get past that. And let me say this quickly about the booty scratcher thing. All right. I grew up in Detroit. Man, do you know there were no immigrants in Detroit? When I grew up and on the playground, I heard African booty scratcher was something that kids said to each other.
Yeah,
There
we
was
said
not
that to
an
each other. We said
African.
that. We said
There
that to
was
each
not
other.
an
Hold on,
African
Invisible man. I'm
around.
speaking. I'm speaking. We said that to each other, the other Black Americans. We gotta move past the booty scratcher joke.
I
Booty
mean, if we're
scratcher. Yeah,
talking
we said
about
that to each other.
yeah. So if we're talking about taking kids being harsh, that's how my mother used to tell me, my parents used to tell me, sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never hurt you. Right? And that
Right,
was
right.
hard to swallow. That was hard to swallow because let me tell you, I got in plenty of fights over the words that were spoken to me. Right? So
Right.
on this panel, and I'll finish here. I saw a video yesterday of an African guy. I don't know what country he was from. And this is another thing where Quincy said if black Americans were to listen at some of the things that are going on this panel, they would go further into the FBA movement, right? There was an African that says, hey, look here. I came over on a plane as a passenger. They came over as cargo. I have nothing to do with them. Do you not think that is worse than being an African booty scratcher? I
No.
mean,
But
so
you're generalizing as
No.
well, man. You're generalizing
that's
as well.
right.
I heard
I
No.
am
FBA say worse.
generalizing, and that's the point where the generalizations on here categorically are
Listen.
mainly against Black Americans.
And can
When
I
we
piggyback
go
off of
to
that?
the
Let me
No
context.
piggyback off of
way.
that.
But
Let me piggyback off of that.
We're not. We're not.
hold
We're
on.
not.
Let me say
We're
something real
not.
quick.
Because I got to pass the mic to Kofi. Invisible man, let me pass the mic. Go ahead, Kofi.
I think we need to learn each other's history. I consider myself to be very Afrocentric. My brothers having all Nigerian names and Ghanaian names, so we're like forced to dive into the history. If we were ever teased or picked, it's because they thought we were immigrants, so then we would just beat them up because we was actually from the soil and didn't have nothing to lose. Yes, I think it should be mandatory to learn the history, but I can also say that the civil learning the civil rights and learning about slavery, that really made me very angry towards white people, and it made me so angry that I wouldn't participate in things that are American and things that are predominantly covered by whites, predominantly populated by whites. So if I seen white spaces, if I saw Wall Street and it was covered with white people, if I saw science and it was filled with white people, I would just disengage. And that's why in this very future, I find myself on the African continent. No matter how much I had to struggle financially, I feel like I had to be with the people that I could identify with and really make a change. Um, I think black immigrants excel more when they're not forced to take on that history, right? Because the history is coming to us as being victimized instead of being winners. So I would imagine if all they taught was colonialism. I bet you a lot that would damage a lot of African minds. And that being said, yes, the conversations on the internet were. I wish we were talking about LOMs, and I wish we were talking about AI and how this could really change the modern governance of the African continent. I'd like to give a shout out to Terra Industries, this 24-year-old Nigerian. He started producing drones. Now he got a deal in Ghana to mass produce drones too to help out with surveillance. I would we need to see more of that and have debates over things like that. Like I would like to debate whether Palantir is a CIA front, and should they have taken $34 million, which is nothing. But I would like to have debates on things like that. I feel like we're in the future now, and I wonder why we find ourselves having these same conversations. Why I always talk about the slave trade. It's crazy. But
Can I
yeah,
respond to?
I welcome Dragon.
I think you spoke. I think you spoke beautifully, sir. Much
Hey,
more palatable. Much more palatable than myself. Thank you.
Can I respond? Can I respond to
I
something
think
I heard
it's an
earlier?
honor to be on a stage with people who've done things like that in Japan, and you never know who you can meet on here. So this is bringing us together for a reason. I think we should take advantage of it.
Amen.
Yeah, well
Amen.
said.
Amen.
Well said.
Hey, can I respond to something I heard earlier?
Yeah.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes, but
I don't have
yeah, we can hear you, Don.
controversial to
Yeah,
say.
the guy said something as
Africa has
far as
beautiful women.
hold on. The guy
And I
say I
think
meant that we
that
should
should be one of the main reasons why Black Americans should venture off into Africa. I'm not sure if that's controversial or not. But if you're gay, then stay in the United States.
Let him land 1 second. Yeah, go on, Kofi.
All right,
Yeah,
done.
Kofi, you done? Okay.
So the guy said earlier that I meant that we should focus on American Black people, but that wasn't what I really meant. I was challenging African countries to step up and add something to the pot, because how we see it now, the elites of Africa send their people to our country, Black American country, build the schools they go to benefit and to get the resources, and they don't consider that
Why
maybe
did you say Black American countries? Can you explain what that means?
Come on, bro.
No, it's a question. It's a question,
our
a
country,
valid one.
Listen, please. Listen, just like
Black
Liberia
American country. What the fuck is
Black
that?
American country, regardless if the Africans drove us out.
Never
they
heard of the
didn't
place.
change the name. They didn't change
Yeah,
the
Jack,
flag.
let me
The
make a
flag
point.
still has an American X to it. But I want to say this. I want to dispel something I heard about as far as the credit being given to Caribbeans for being the first in England. Did you know during the War of 1812, when Britain actually financed the Algonquin tribes against America? Actually, America actually lost that war, but they freed a lot of slaves and sent them to England.
Sierra
Black
Leonean.
American slaves.
Sierra Leoneans.
That was
That's what
before.
you
That
call
was
it.
afterwards. The
Okay.
Sierra Leone happened after the Revolutionary War. I'm talking about the War of
Yeah.
1812, when they was
Yeah.
freeing
Okay.
plantations. They were sending the Black
Right.
Americans to Trinidad, Caribbean islands, also to England. So we was in
Yes,
England way before the Windbush. So y'all can't just exclude
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh yeah. I agree with that. I
Y'all
agree
can't
with
just say
that.
it was
That's 100%.
just Caribbeans there. We was there way before the Caribbeans there. And also, I think
It always
Africans shouldn't just see us as a come up, as a lick. Like we just gonna go over there, take what they got, and don't give them nothing, then disrespect them in their face. Like you say, oh, we come to America and we doing these with drones and AI, and you disregard the fact that AI was actually developed by a Black American from a black whale. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you talking about what an African did as far as a drone. Like, he didn't develop drone technology. Like, if you're going to brag about something, brag
No,
about
I don't think
something
he was
that Africans
bragging. The
developed.
guy wasn't bragging at
I mean,
all.
anybody go to a person's
Why
country
do you
and
take
learn
it
how
as
to
a
make a
brag?
drone.
Why do you take it as a brag? Why is what he said so oppressive to you?
Because he didn't give credit. He talking about, we just talk about AI.
But he was talking about what he knew. This is something that he
Learn
knew,
about, listen.
and he shared
The
it.
whole idea is, he's saying
Big man, louder, man, louder, man.
the topic of the
What do you mean
discussion
loud?
is,
Let him to talk shit.
the topic of the discussion is, should the immigrants learn about the civil rights movement? I think they should learn a lot more than that. They should learn about the science contributions, the medical contributions. They should learn about
And
the
you
Black
should learn
Americans
about
that helped
nothing.
end apartheid.
Like my man
They should
said
learn about
earlier.
a lot of things, and they shouldn't just see us as just a come up.
You should remain ignorant. It's the rest. It's everyone else that needs to take the burden of learning about you. Meanwhile, you remain ignorant.
I'm talking.
Fucking
The guy
idiot.
got a word for us in Liberia call us quill, talking about we sissies because we don't want to do no. Who you think built the country over there? Who you think you talking about? We don't want to do the work you did. If that was true, why didn't you go be in
The only
slavery
thing
and
is that you don't
do no hard
understand.
work?
What you guys don't understand is that we are
And then
all
listen,
African.
and then
Once we come to that, there is no more
y'all brag
conversation about
about
you.
y'all brag about
Brag.
how much
How can
y'all don't want
you
nothing to
brag
do with us,
against
right?
me, and how can I brag against you?
Jagoon.
Y'all
What you
brag
mean,
about how
Jagoon?
much
What's
y'all
he
don't
talking
want nothing
about?
to y'all, how much superior you
No,
are.
but
Yet
let them,
y'all plan to come to our country and go to
Look what
our
he's talking about. Look at the
and
I
fake.
know.
benefit.
I don't, brother M, I don't like that sort of mentality. I agree to a lot of stuff that you
Rubbish.
said
Just rubbish.
in terms of
And it
the,
should be
in
treated
terms,
as such.
Jagun, wait. Yeah, go on.
Listen,
Yeah,
Africa,
go on.
right? You always give credence to the Caribbeans for being in England, right? But did you know during World War II, Black Americans the Black American soldiers in World War II had a war in England because the American soldiers wanted to institute segregation. That was the Black
No, I
Americans
know.
that fought to
I,
prevent that. It wasn't no
I,
Caribbeans. So every time you
I
talk
know.
about the people, the blacks in London, you always say there was
Mm.
Caribbeans. We was there a lot longer.
No,
See, the thing
Way
is,
before them.
the thing
okay,
is, me
let
and
me,
you, we
no,
can't
1
have
second.
conversation.
Jagun, let me respond then, please.
Do you know how
Brother
to
M,
respond? Do you know
yeah,
do
please.
you know the history enough of Black UK to respond to this
God,
guy?
wait.
Let me see what you got to say. If you
Emotional
can really
Jagoon.
respond, because I don't
Emotional
believe that you can
Jagoon.
respond.
Okay. Oh God, let me just let me try my bit, all right?
Yeah.
The around the 17th century, the loyalists are one of the first black people who settled in the UK, and this is when
Very good,
the
sir.
British, when the British Commonwealth lost the war, they retreated back with those slaves, to London, and it was quite cold. They was facing a lot of discrimination. That's way
And
before the Second
what
World War.
country did those slaves come from?
They came from the US, yeah, you're right, and the
So
Caribbean.
exactly. There wasn't no Jamaica. Well, no Jamaica.
Not in the
Wasn't no
1700s.
island. They was from America.
From America, Canada. Yeah, so you're right. I mean, and then later on, the Maroons from Jamaica joined them in Sierra Leone.
You're still talking
So,
early. You're still
oh
talking.
God,
No, you are, bro. You're not talking
yeah.
accurately. The black people in this country, in UK, have been here for millennia. Do you understand? The Moors. Wait a minute. The Moors in the UK, the Moors were all across Europe in the 1600s, 1500s. What are you talking about? You're not strong enough for this conversation, brother. You're giving him credence.
No, wait,
Can
no, listen.
I jump in?
No,
Can I jump in?
yeah, 1 second. 1 second. Now you brought the Moors, okay? Jagun, I have said it here so many times that the guy that built Bath, okay? Bath Spa in England, one of the most prestigious towns, is an African. He was a Roman.
What year? What time are we talking? Time period.
I got a question.
The days of the Roman Empire, whatever year it was.
Exactly.
The days of the
Now, is that were there airplanes flying Americans over there?
No, you got to remember, Jagun. Wait, we're not talking of this context. Okay?
Who was the first Pan African? Pop quiz.
It was a Trinidadian. It was a Trinidadian. I'll show you his name. It wasn't an American.
He was. I'm gonna tell you. Do you want me to tell you who he was?
Good. Go, come for it.
The first Pan African was Julius Caesar.
What the hell?
That's the first Pan African. I'm gonna tell you why he the first Pan African. Because when they destroyed Carthage, he ordered to rebuild Carthage, and he renamed it the Roman province of Africa, and he married Cleopatra, Egyptian queen. So he was the first Pan African. He actually created Africa, which is modern day Tunisia. So
anyway, back to my point.
You can owe him credence for being the first Pan African.
Back to my point. In the context of the modern day black community, that's what we're talking about, not the context of the first existence
You
of
wouldn't have
black
no
people
word
in
Africa
Europe.
without Julius Caesar.
Yeah. So yeah. I understand the frustration, right? So let's leave the emotion out of this topic.
Bro,
We're not gonna get nowhere.
This guy is really living. Bro, you should be stronger than that because you're strong with me when you need to be, but you're not strong with people who talk nonsense, and I don't understand that.
Jagun. No, listen.
But you're not strong, brother. You're licking up to their rubbish.
See, that's
Why are you entertaining this shit? You're being soft. Go with your
Jagun.
bruh. It's not good enough.
Jagun.
Yeah.
Leave it. You can't fight you can't fight everybody.
You
Just leave
can
it.
fight everybody when there's a war on.
other people speak, man?
Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
go on, go on.
Yeah,
Yes, go on.
especially no disrespect to y'all UKs, right? Who live in UK. No disrespect to y'all, but there are certain things, right? You guys not gonna understand when certain people come up here that they refer to themselves as Black Americans, and they want Africans to bow down to them. You guys not gonna understand their code word, the way they try to put things together. I'm not gonna try to disrespect to y'all. Just like how Africans that been here for like 5 or less than 10 years, they don't understand certain things. You understand me, right? So please, it's a civil right like thing. Should be known for like immigrants when they come here, right? Okay, they just say yes, right? Okay, but look at the history of this country though. Just like how when you walk down in certain states, you're gonna see statue of Robert Lee. So Robert Lee fought against the American government. He wanted to upload slavery back in the day. But you have statues of these people, right? So what about those people then? If you guys, if the country that you praise so much, if they look at you as equal to the same people that helped develop this country, that's not a question the immigrant is supposed to answer. That's the question of the people that control this country, that vote these things. So then when immigrants come here and take the test, like for them to become a citizen, they ain't got nothing to do with immigrants. That got something to do with the so-called Constitution and so-called the Supreme Court, and then also the Justice Department, stuff like that. To me, that honestly have nothing to do with with the immigrants. That has to do with people that control this country right here. So then, if you see yourself same equal as the white immigrant that came here and built this country for 250 years now, that law should be in there. It should be on the paper. That's something that should be on the paper. That ain't got nothing to do with immigrants. But let's bring it back to this thing, right? Civil right thing. I said this yesterday before, right? Just like
What you
how,
said yesterday was fantastic. I can't
just
lie.
like just like how I mentioned yesterday, right? If your government going to Africa, unaliving, leaders, right? Subjugating Africans for them, to develop their countries, taking African wealth away, doing it at that particular time. But then you are paying America fighting for civil rights. Civil rights. Let's be clear now. Civil rights. Which I understand, and then I'm always have respect for that. So how you fighting for the same people where you say you don't have no civil right at that time, but you fighting for a civil right, but then that same government, that same country, going around Africa, unaliving leaders, going around in the Asian countries as well, doing all type of things where the Africans have not even done 1%. The things that the United States government have done in the continent of Africa, Africans haven't done even 1% in America. So which mean with that, it's because of us, it's because of civil rights and thing. Once again, I'm not gonna try to disrespect that, but the way saying, so-called, oh, I am Black American, come up here and try to talk to us. If it wasn't for the civil right, you want to do this, you want to do this, you want to do that. Okay, but look at it right now. What's the percent of Africans that's in America? Probably 2%. What's the percent of Africans that's over there in Africa? 90 something percent, at least 95%, right? So you telling me I should pick 2% because they here in America, some of them doing good things, but the rest they might not be, because I know there's some Africans in this country not doing good, financially, also, gangs right as well, right? My overall, it's the people that live in Africa to be prosper, because that's where I come from. That's where majority of my people live. That's where your government, your white man that you love to say, oh, America, right? They go to Africa and subjugate us and build the America that you want to kiss behind us. But then you want to tell Africans, oh, you should bow to us. Oh, you should do this for us. Oh, you should say this for us.
Well done.
What happened when you have a black kid, right? Like, let's just say, because to me, he wasn't guilty at all. Anthony, right? He becomes a real good track star, right? real good track star in high school, right? He then decided to go to, like, let's say, University of Georgia. You know, spent a couple of years going to Olympics, right? But he chose to go to where? A school that was racist to his own people. A school that subjugated his own people in that state in Georgia. That had nothing to do with with so-called Africans, right? But he could have chose a black school, HBCU black school, instead he didn't. So what he just did, he betrayed his own people for the white man. I mean, sometimes you don't hear these so-called black Americans, talking about it, right? He empowered the white structure. Like
He was in high. He was in high school. He was in high school. He was in high school.
Yeah, boy.
You said HBCUs, and he actually had a full ride to Morehouse, so he wasn't going to HBCU.
I'm just giving an example, right? Because if you said you want to fight for your people, right? Which nothing wrong with that. But don't try to come up here and say, "Oh, Africans should bow down to us." Oh, Africans really come.
Nobody. This is recorded. Nobody ever said Africans should bow down to anybody.
What about
this is recorded. This is recorded. This is recorded. Nobody ever said bow down to black Americans. Nobody ever said that.
It's not that they said it.
Nobody said that.
Implied. It's implied. Anyway,
it's not even implied.
Quincy, bro. Good to see that you're still around, brother. I'm enjoying you. Brother.
It's not even implied. I want to respond after that, please. Okay, go.
I got you. Yeah. Bang, when he then he's on comment.
When your people have opportunities, right, to empower their own industry, right? Whatever it is, right? They don't choose theirs. They chose the white man industry, right? But y'all don't never say nothing about it. And then that same industry will turn around and go against y'all. That's what I don't understand. But at the same time, y'all want to say, "Oh, Africa this, Africa this. Oh, the Africans. Do you know how many videos I could pull up when so-called, FBA or so-called people now, because they hate the word African next to them, they want to claim America. Claim America, right? Nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, it's the American system removing y'all history. It's the American system making sure that y'all history is not spread out. It's the American history doing all these things to y'all. It had nothing to do with Africans.
Okay.
Your people leave HBCU and go to other schools.
All right, we got to pass the mic. Go ahead, Afridamus. Go ahead, Afridamus.
No. Quincy was next. I'm next.
Who?
Me, Quincy. I was next.
He was going to interject.
Yeah. It was Quincy.
Look, Quincy,
no, there's rules. When somebody hasn't spoken, Adonis will give them an opportunity to speak for the first time.
Go ahead, Afridamus.
Well, I know Jagoon ain't talking, boy.
Go ahead, Afridamus.
Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Go
All
ahead.
right. Thank you for having me. Interesting topic. Said, should immigrants be tested on the civil rights movement before becoming U.S. citizens? Well, the good news is, I remember I took the test. But before you take the test, they give you a book called We the People. It's called the Citizens Almanac. And in this Citizens Almanac is broken down into several categories of what you need to know about U.S. history. And in this book, that almanac, there is, half a page about the civil rights, that's in there. The most important things that you need to know in the American Citizenship book is rights of a citizen, responsibilities of a citizen, the Star-Spangled Banner, America the Beautiful, God Bless America, I Hear America Singing, Concord Hymn, the New Colosseum, Flag of the United States of America, Pledge of Allegiance, Great Seal of the United States, Motto of the United States. Then they go to presidential and historical speeches in America. Farewell address by George Washington, 1796. First inaugural address, Abraham Lincoln, 1861. Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln. The Four Freedoms, Franklin D. Roosevelt. Inaugural address and remarks at the Brandenburg. And also, you got to learn about the Mayflower Declaration of Independence, the Federalist Papers, Constitution of the United States, Bill of Rights, Emancipation Proclamation. Then there's some court cases you need to know about. Marbury versus Madison, 1803. John Marshall delivering the opinion of the court. Plessy versus Ferguson. John Marshall Harlan delivering the dissenting opinion of the court. West Virginia State Board of Education versus Burnett. Robert Jackson delivering the opinion of the court. Brown v. Board of Education. Al Warren delivering the opinion. Nothing about the blacks, because if you're becoming a citizen, to become an actual American, the slave stories, the blacks' victimhood, it doesn't apply to you, because
Slave
it's
and
not.
black victimhood.
It's not. Let me finish, sir. It's not relevant. You know, the people.
It ain't relevant. Are y'all hear this bullshit?
The people that actually own the country, the white people that built this country, the ones that put the test together.
Y'all wonder why FBA.
Let me finish, sir.
Go,
Let me finish.
Please.
Stop.
Continue.
Control yourself.
Continue.
Please. This is a white man's friend talking.
Continue.
Thank you. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, there is already. Hold on. There is already half a page in the book. You know, just like Black History Month, they gave you the shortest month, and they gave, like, why would anybody want to learn about? I mean, for me personally, I took African American studies because I went to the 13th and 14th grade, because there is different categories of Africans that come here. People like me, we are free. You know, we came on our own sojourn. We got our own money. Then you have people who come here as refugees that the United States government, you know, they provide all these things for them. I mean, these refugees, I don't think they even pay to, you know, take these tests, you see? So like somebody like me who's not a refugee, you can't put me in group with refugees or former slaves. You know, we don't have the same mentality. If, like, I'm thinking more like a white person, you know, I respect the white history more than everything. Like when I read, you know, George Washington's farewell, it brought tears down my cheeks. That's how much it hit me. Okay, yeah, and then
that is Pete. That is. Tell me why you laugh.
Yeah,
I'm interested.
And then reading about what the
Epidemics. When you got married, man, did you cry too?
Did I cry?
But what you make you bring your brother down?
Sir, I gotta speak. Look, sir, we are not gonna be speaking that jungle English here. We are speaking real English, American English. So thank you. So what I'm saying is, these blacks are talking about the things they talk about is only important to them, but you know, as far as the American country goes, the thesis is not really relevant, because, you know, learning about it, you don't really hear about this thing unless you are on the internet, you hear blacks talk about it, but in real life, it has no use to you, because they are fighting to go eat in the white man's restaurant. They are fighting so they can be allowed to live in white neighborhoods, so they can have access to white women. So if you are like, you know, what would be
that's what you've been doing since you got here? But
what would be the purpose?
You love his snow bunnies. You know
Hold on. What would be the purpose of you reading about that? I mean, unless for fun. If you want to go live in white neighborhoods, you already have access to that. Nobody is stopping you. You know, those days are gone. You know, I mean, yeah. So, but it's in there. That's what I came here to say. It's in there, and they cannot ask you everything. Honestly, this book, when you read it, the Citizenship, they just want you to read it. When you get there, I mean, I'm telling you from my own experience, they don't really ask you a lot of stuff. They just, like me, they asked me, I think, 2 questions. That was it. And they asked me about my favorite George Washington, and also
did you cry too?
Hold on.
Did he cry?
Hold on. And I made sure to tell them, please do not ask me anything about those blacks. And then they asked me about the Constitution. So, but the civil rights is in the book. Is definitely in there.
Can I ask you a question, Aphrodite? Aphrodite, can I ask you a question?
Quite interesting, Epidemus. I think you gave us a lot of good information, and you gave us a lot of humor. I can't lie.
So do you think integration was a bad thing for the African American population in America?
Interesting question.
Well, I mean, it depends on which black you are asking. I know there is from looking at it, there were blacks who were against it, and if you look at the independence of what blacks had prior to that, if you ask me personally, I would say it's a bad idea because they were running, the blacks were running their own things. They had their own stuff. So I think if they continued, if the black people continued, I think the black people would have eventually become a economic powerhouse because blacks were able to rival. They used to be able to rival white people. Don't forget that black people were the workforce of America for hundreds of years.
Yeah, 400 years.
So prior to the civil rights, blacks were so good at what they did as far as job working to a point. People like the white people themselves were willing to enter into business with blacks. Sometimes they would even hand over the land to them because they are the ones that are able to work it, right? But
somebody that knows, man. Somebody that knows.
But yeah,
if you, well done, brother. I beg your pardon. Sorry, I'm just applauding you.
That makes sense.
That's not well done. Let me talk right now, because it's my turn.
Yeah, be black. Yeah, greetings.
Is this little black? Is this little black?
Yeah, be black. Be black.
It's bit black. Then after bit black, I pass it to you. I actually got passed it to you, Moja.
But Quincy, when can I jump in? When can I jump in?
After your Moja. Go ahead, bit black.
Okay, Pan-African power to all of y'all, man. First of all, integration was needed to happen. First of all, because it was separate, but things were not equal. Black people, we had some stores and everything, but we still a lot of stuff. We still had to go into the white neighborhoods and get things because they had most of the products to sell, right? As far as like the things that we needed, a lot of things that we needed that were in the black community. So and at the same time, they could go into our neighborhoods freely without repercussion, but we couldn't go into theirs. So that's the reality of the integration. I mean, not integration, but Jim Crow. Secondly, as far as the cost.
So are you disagreeing with Aphrodite? Are you disagreeing with him?
It was separate. It was separate, but it was not equal. Things were not equal. We still had to, for a lot of jobs, we still had to go into the neighborhoods. You know what I mean? All the jobs weren't produced in the black community. You had your mom and pop stores, but what about everybody else? You dig what I'm saying? So they had to go to these white communities to go to the different industries as far as like factories and things of that sort, right? So
no, this is about white women and the restaurants. Just be honest. That's what they match for.
Sir, no. A lot of stuff you couldn't get. In the black community.
Big black. Big black. The black people literally had their own businesses. They could
businesses.
Go.
Business like what? Give me a couple. Give me names of businesses that they had.
So are you saying blacks today, as we speak?
Do we have appliance stores?
Blacks? Yes.
So
yes,
there were hardly no appliance stores, hardware stores. You had to go to the white community.
Okay.
A lot of technology, new technology, cutting technology that was on the air. Technology of that time. Even
it's better now.
Where do we go get our cars from? The black car dealerships in the black.
The Asians, they have Chinatown. Wait, Asians have
they were
Chinatown.
cars They weren't selling Cadillacs in Chinatown. Okay.
No, hold on. What I'm
What you
saying is,
talking about?
There's a whole history behind cars in America.
hold on, Big Black.
And the black people at that time were both manufacturing cars and adding to cars. In fact, it was the black neighborhood that saved the car company you just talked about. They saved them.
What you're talking about is Detroit.
I'm listening to you, bro, and I'm not getting any facts or beneficial things that are adding to my understanding. What Afrodamus has just said, I know to be true. I know it to be true.
Jagan.
Yes, sir.
Big Black. Big Black.
Hold on. Let me talk to you. Hold
the
on.
blacks were the ones working in the car factories.
I'll talk to you in a minute.
Yeah, let Big Black finish. Don't interrupt.
Yeah, let him finish.
Jagan, you're talking about Detroit, which was primarily black, right? But still, a lot of those industries were still in white neighborhoods because they had white neighborhoods in Detroit. Meanwhile, the rest of America,
I'm actually not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. But continue, because I'm listening to you, but I'm not understanding why you are against what Afrodamus said. I'm not understanding.
You gotta let him finish instead of every
It's
time.
not that I gotta let him finish.
Yeah, you do because you don't
let him
understand.
finish. Go ahead, Big Black.
What you're talking about is when we're talking about these black communities before integration, we're talking about like a small grocery store, just a small grocery store, right? Maybe a gas station, and liquor stores, but these were mom and pop stores. You had supply chains like Sears. A big store like Sears, black people had to go out to white neighborhoods to shop and get like up to date technology. A lot of things black people had to travel out their neighborhood to get, even though it was Jim Crow. A lot of the things, the resources, they had to travel out their neighborhoods and deal with walking with the head down.
You're still doing it.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's why it didn't. As far as segregation, it didn't do anything. And then when we tried, at times that we tried to build up our stuff, right? When we had these successful towns, the America didn't protect those towns and came and burnt them down.
Okay, Big Black. Let me ask you this, Big Black. Who worked? Who were the people building the cars? Even when they first started it in the 1930s and 40s, who were the ones working building the cars, Big Black? Who were the
blacks
okay?
and whites.
So now you are totally wrong saying that blacks did not have access to this. Go and look at the black income during those times,
Listen,
my guy.
When you're
Go
talking
look it up.
about, listen, when you're talking
You're
about
talking propaganda.
you're talking
here,
about
son.
factories that build cars and the actual places that sell the cars. Black people would
Oh
have
my
to go
God.
to the sellers. These sellers that sold the cars, they were not in the black neighborhood.
Big Black people were buying entire neighborhoods. They were buying houses. What are you talking about?
Hey, Afrodamus, where you stay at? What part of the city? What part of the country you stay in?
I live in the whitest part of America, sir.
Right, but you don't have
what part of the country? What part of the country?
Sir, what are you trying to ask me for? I do not date men. Please.
I'm asking you a question.
See, he stays in the whitest part of the country, but he's going to tell me about the history that I got from my grandmother and grandfather. When your people wasn't even here before segregation.
I happen to read
in
the
segregation,
books.
your people,
so you read about it.
Even in the city that I lived in,
so you read about it.
Hold on, just few years ago. Let me debunk the Big Black here.
So
just
you read
few
about
years
it.
ago, not
you
long
just
ago.
said you read
right?
about it.
There were
you just said you read about it, right?
There was a black. Hold on. There was a black grocery store.
You just said you read about it,
black
correct?
grocery store is as big as Safeway in black neighborhood. It's not a tiny little mom and pop. What are you talking about? I'm talking in my city where I lived. What are you talking about? It was a black. It was owned by blacks.
That wasn't the norm. You're talking about something that was not the norm. Let me ask you something. A Chevy dealership, right? Big Chevy dealership. Do you think there was Chevy dealerships in black neighborhoods?
Like, don't ask him nothing, man. He don't know. He read about it. He read about it.
Look. Here's the thing. Okay,
what is it? Our people grew up in
it.
Our people lived it. They read about it.
Look.
They so loud for what they read over the people who lived it.
Right.
That's my whole point. Y'all
That's
so
fine.
loud about something you read over people who lived it.
Look. I'm
I
not
would
gonna.
never do that to y'all. I
I'm
would
not gonna
never do. I would never be
argue.
louder to you about your history that
Hold
you
on.
live because I read it in a
Hold
book.
on.
That's just stupid. It's
Okay.
arrogant and stupid. And
It is
y'all on this
Yeah,
live. Y'all on
Hey
this
guys,
live.
we gotta pass the mic to Big Black. You got 30 seconds. I gotta pass the mic to your Mojo. Go ahead, Big Black. Oh, your Mojo dropped off. Okay, never mind.
I
Who's
can't get
this
a turn.
crybaby, man?
Hold on.
Hold
Let me
on.
say something real quick. Hold on. Let me say
Afrodame,
something
hold on.
real
I
quick.
get my 30 seconds, man.
Hey,
Hold on.
your Mojo, if you want to come back on, I was about to pass it to you, but go ahead, Big Black.
Quincy can't get
Basically, if it's not even about so much as learning about our history, right? But just have enough sense to stop the xenophobia. And I'm talking about the diaspora period, whether on the African continent or in the black countries on this side of the hemisphere, whether it's Jamaica, whatever, even African Americans, we need to
The
stop
whole
the
lot of you.
xenophobia.
Can I ask you a question again,
Yeah,
Big
but
Black?
Big
A
Black.
whole lot of
Do you
us.
know the
Hold on.
person by the name of D. Patterson? Do you know him? Do you know who that guy is?
Hold on.
No, it's a
Guys,
question.
let Big Black finish.
A whole lot of you see, that's the thing. What you're doing is kind of spreading a lot of xenophobia. Just because you see an online movement called FBA, you think all black folks, most black folks are joining FBA. Most black folks have not even heard of the name FBA, right? But see, what you're doing now is giving credence to that name. Like if I go ask
Do you know who Frederick D. Patterson is or was?
Okay,
Do you know that name?
What
Now,
was
I can tell you that he began building cars before Henry Ford, long before Henry Ford. He did it. None of you know his name. And because of this guy, this very strange individual by the name of Quincy, who doesn't like reading, and he doesn't believe in reading, and he thinks that reading is a white man thing. So you mustn't read, you must just live and suffer. You guys are strange, man.
You just put that
Strange.
in atmosphere, which is a lie. But just because, what does that prove that you know that name? What does that prove?
No. What it is that
I mean, it might be a bit of history that I know that you don't know. But what does that prove?
But the point is, if Diners have a lot of topics on this channel, right? He has a lot of topics all across the diaspora, right? If he's speaking about South Africa, like I listen a lot of times and I don't even call in. You know why I don't call in? Because the topic ain't about me and my people. So I listen to it, right? I listen to learn. And like I said, you could feel how you want to feel, but you don't know how stupid and ridiculous you sound to say, because I read something, I'm going to speak over the people who lived it. Their grandmas, their granddaddies, their uncles who went to war. My grandma worked in the Sears when I was a kid. We talk about department stores. I mean, we got the history. The history is in our blood, and y'all talking over us because you read about it. Like that is just, it blows my mind. Let me finish. It blows my mind because y'all only do that to Black Americans. Y'all would not jump into a Jamaican panel. You wouldn't jump in a Jamaican panel or a Haitian panel speaking about the Haitian Revolution and overtalk Haitians who come from that. You wouldn't do it. It's the respect that y'all have for the rest of the diaspora that you don't have of Black Americans. And that's why FBA, the lineage movement will continue to grow, because y'all just don't have the respect. And you show it no matter what you say, you show it. Jagoon showed it.
Hold on.
Afro-Donaldson showed it. It's no respect. So how y'all want to come together when y'all don't even respect us? Y'all don't even respect us to listen to us. How are we supposed to come together when you know everything about us? And you gonna tell me about me, but we supposed to come together.
Let me say something.
No, I understand where Quincy is coming from.
Quincy, nobody's trying
together.
Living shame.
Quincy, nobody's trying to get together with you. You sound like your grandma. You don't know what the hell you
He doesn't know anything. He's a dumb.
Don't do that. Hey, don't do that.
Stop it, man.
Hey, don't do that. Hey,
Emotional fool.
Hey, don't do that.
But see,
Hey,
no,
don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
Afrodamus is an emotional fool because he
Afrodamus don't do that. Hey, don't do that.
No, hold on.
That's emotional.
Let me say
Hey,
something.
don't play about my grandma. Real talk. Don't play about my grandma. Let's not get disrespectful. Okay?
That's not civilized.
Don't do that.
That's
Just keep respect.
this conversation was going to go.
I gotta pass the mic to your Mojo. Go ahead, your Mojo.
Can I just say this thing? Can I just say one thing, sir? Okay, man. Okay.
I had a lot of respect for you.
Y'all, stop. It's your Mojo's turn. Go ahead, your Mojo.
Thank you, Dinus.
Hey, your Mojo.
And I want to talk about if we're gonna adopt American English as the language for this channel, let's start out
No.
knowing that Texas is never gonna be a word. It's Tess. Let's start there. And
Wonderful.
I want to talk about opportunities to understand Black excellence globally so that our brothers and sisters don't have to rely on hip hop videos or interviews to get what they believe is a representation of Black Americans. Now, you do yourself a good service if you look up Divine Nine, and those are some of the Black organizations that actually have chapters around the world that are doing good work.
Yeah, but you
So,
don't know nothing about Divine Nine. They were
Oh
they
man,
were
y'all
actually
stop
can I
interrupting us.
finish?
Let
Yeah.
her finish.
My
they were
God,
advisors
Lord.
to the king. They were, buffer classes. So if you
Oh,
read
Oh man,
let me
Jesus.
finish. So, for example, those of you in the UK, there's several sororities, Black sororities, and fraternities that have chapters there that are doing good work.
Hmm.
Find one.
maybe if you did some test
Visit.
systems, you would have known that they were a buffer.
Right. So you didn't flunk your tests, you would know that.
Go
So
on. Go on, you
there's
moja.
information out there. Come on, guys. Let's look for ways to learn about each other. I mean,
Absolutely.
there's great opportunities. I participate here. I'm in LA. I go to events that the diasporan community puts out, and I learn. So I'm committed, and I challenge you guys to do the same thing. Let's stop this. I know more than you, and I have a degree, and so I know more than you, whatever. And I read about you, so I know more about you. Let's actually experience each other.
What about the fact that Quincy says that the information is in our blood and we don't need to read? What
Oh
about
yeah.
that?
Well,
I
no,
never
I
said
Never
we
wouldn't.
didn't need
said
to read.
that.
I
He
never
never
said that.
said that.
So I
I
wouldn't
never
say that
said
we.
that.
People
Yeah,
should
yeah,
Shut
yeah,
up.
yeah,
I'm
guys.
not asking you.
Let your emoji respond. Good.
I
Let the
wouldn't
lady
say that
speak.
we don't need to read, but I think it's called phenological. That's an experienced based research, and it is valid. It is valid. It is just like running any other research study and having data subjects. It is a valid way of understanding a situation. So
It's,
I agree.
that's called fact checking, Jagon.
What does that mean? I
Yes.
don't know what you mean.
So we
I mean,
we
talking to our
I know what
auntie
the young
about it.
lady's saying. I know what she's saying. She's very clear and precise, and
Okay,
she
well,
has a good
let
way
me
of
explain.
using
All right,
words.
hold
But
on,
what
but
you're
When
saying,
you read, when you read,
guys, stop talking over,
disregard.
stop
when
It's
you
talking
read
rubbish.
a
over me.
book, you want to check the.
All right, emoji, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think we got to get past this. We have too much to do. We do need to understand points of reference. The young man that came on and brought up the AI stuff, great. But
Mm.
it was started by a Black man. That is the precipice, but that's not where it's going to end. So if one of our brothers and sisters on the continent is actually picking up the torch and the baton and making it happen, wonderful. But we do need to understand that we have contributions in our community. And if you're coming over here to live among us, to be recognized as one of us, whether you want to or not, society does, especially if you come over as a refugee. I think someone brought up refugees earlier. There's a form that you fill out for asylum. I think it's I-593 or 539, and it allows you to seek asylum based on race. They take race and lump
That's not true.
nationality.
There's
It,
no such thing as that, ma'am. That's
look it
not
up,
true.
man.
Ma'am,
Come
He
on,
ma'am,
he
like
knows, man. He
I've worked
knows.
for
you the one who
immigration.
did. You
That's
obviously
a
didn't
lie.
pass this
That's a
test.
lie. That's a lie. There's
Look it
no
up. I
there's
gave
no
you the name of the
asylum on race.
form.
Why are they
I'll wait while you
returning
look
the,
it
the,
up.
the Haitians? Why are
I'll
they
wait while
returning
you
the
look it
Haitians?
up.
This is not true,
I'll wait
ma'am.
while you look it
Give it
up.
up.
I-539. Look it up. Let's pass this
If
test
if
right
that were
now.
true, all the
Well,
Haitians.
hold on, hold on.
539.
After Diamond, how about just look it up and then just circle back. Go
Look
ahead.
it up. You think I'm going to come on this
Based in race.
platform?
You're still
After
talking.
Diamond, stop arguing. Just look it up and circle back.
Yeah.
Look it up. It
Go ahead.
lumps race,
Is it a new
geographic.
one? Is it a
Oh,
new one?
Jesus. Good luck,
Is it
guys.
you?
Good luck.
No,
Please
don't leave
don't
your
go,
mojo.
Yamoja. Please don't run away.
Guys,
Don't let these horrible people.
don't leave your mojo. Don't
I
leave.
have
Go ahead, Shay.
passed plenty of tests in my life. I got 4 degrees. Okay. I'm here to share and learn too. I tune in often to learn. I'm not going to bring forth information here that isn't factual.
In fact, emoji, we'll do it right. What is it, emoji?
I
We'll do
believe
it
it's
right.
called I-539.
I
That's an
five
asylum form.
I-539 asylum form. Okay.
Yeah, and they lump race. They put nationality underneath it, geographic point of reference, all these things kind of related to what we talked about on yesterday for race. So they just see you as a black person. You can talk about your country and
Okay,
where you
ma'am,
came from, but
ma'am, I see what you say. If if you were basing it on race, it has to be that your race is being prosecuted. I have never seen any African that came here that filed that, which country would it be
so
from?
have you seen the forms? You mean the
There is
US
no
government
form.
has
It's just
allowed you to
saying
see the form?
it just
Really?
Afrodemus is
says
right.
it says
Really?
uh
Afrodemus
it
is right.
says it says for
Afrodemus is right.
prosecution based on your race,
On race.
religion, nationality, member in a particular social group or political opinion. It's not just because
But the
you have to be
category is
prosecuted.
race. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah,
That
yeah, but the
how much
category
of
is
a
race, but
misnomer it
Afrodemus is right.
is. The
No,
U.S.
Afrodemus is right.
actually.
Yeah, but you can't
No,
just show up
Afrodemus is
here and
right.
say I'm black African and I'm filing based on race. I have to be
The
I have to be
the main
prosecuted based on
category
it.
is race. You
Ma'am,
then
No, but
further break it
ma'am,
down in
they have
terms of
religion.
where.
They have religion and nationality too.
You know what? God bless you guys. God bless you. May you pass many more tests. But I'm here to say we've got to get it together.
may the United States government
Diners, can
leave
I speak?
Africa alone. May the
Reading
United
Yeah.
States government
comprehension is
leave
another
Africa
thing
alone.
you
May
need
the
to
United
focus
States
on when you
government
come over
stop
here.
They need to
Reading
listen. They know
comprehension.
may the
everything. They
United
know
States
everything.
government stop
Yes.
Well, they've been through
They
the
know
system.
everything.
Well,
You
you
know,
said
may the
look it
United
up.
States
I'm
government
looking at
stop
it. I'm reading it.
But
I'm telling
reading
you
I
what
think
it
we should let.
comprehension is a
uh
tool.
oh, so
I
It
think
is
we
a
should let the
skill
lady
and a
so
speak.
tool
I
that
was
will
thinking.
take you
you're
far.
smart,
The
huh?
main
I,
category is race. Then you underline under that,
I think
is
we
it
should let the lady
was
speak.
it
I'm not
It's
interrupting her.
okay. She's speaking. She doesn't need your help.
I
She's speaking.
don't. I don't. The main category is race. I think that's a misnomer. I'm with you on that. But that's where the form begins. Then you talk about your country. What happened to you based on your race?
So what about religion? They
Yes, that's
mentioned it.
there as well. Yes.
Nationality.
Yes, I just
Me-
said that earlier, but you were too busy
That
trying
is
to
if you're being
dispute what I'm
prosecuted based
saying.
on race, ma'am.
Oh, Jesus. God
They
Name
know
bless
one.
you.
everything.
What
They
God
know
bless
African?
everything.
you.
Hold on.
No,
Name
it's not like
one
that. It's not
African.
like that.
Hold on.
Diners, can you give us some? If you're
No, no,
looking at
no,
it,
no. Hold on,
can you
hold
give
on.
us some understanding of what you've seen?
Jagon.
Oh no,
They just know they know everything.
I'm
No,
gonna
no.
share the screen. I'm gonna share the screen of the form. So this is the
Yeah.
It's
form.
amazing. It's amazing. Y'all know everything. Y'all
Just
just know
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
about
you said
America.
that
one of
5
you
times.
guys.
You're
If you would
boring.
turn this
It's
knowledge into
amazing.
your own countries, my God, we'd have some superpowers.
Thank
We'd
You
you.
have
know
some
what?
Thank you.
superpowers.
Hey, hold on. One mic. Hold on. She has a point. She has a point.
Yeah, but you have to be. They've named
Just say you're
groups
wrong.
that are
Just say you're wrong.
prosecuted.
Just say you're
But
wrong.
do you acknowledge what
Listen,
she
you get more
says that
people
if
to
you were
you.
this smart, why is
Yeah,
that
Alpha
yeah.
I
why aren't
believe
you
that it's a
applying that to your
misnomer. I
or
do
why are you
believe it, but
applying
I'm
that to Gambia?
saying,
Like
Oh God,
Sorry,
I
say that
wish I could
again.
understand something from here, man.
Sorry,
yeah,
Dinus, you
I mean she
said.
has a point. I agree with that. I agree with
it's
that.
a
Dinus,
misnomer, Epidemics. It
hold
is,
on.
but the
Dinus was
category
saying
begins
something.
with race.
Hold
It
on.
does.
I wanna hear what Dinus. Dinus,
No,
you were
no,
saying
but she
something.
does have a point. If you were this smart, why is that not applying to your country?
No, it cannot because you would have to prove that you're being prosecuted
Basically,
based
No,
on
no, no.
your
What I
race.
mean apply
That's what you're
what I
saying.
mean by applying, why is it like Gambia in a better state if all these smart Gambians are in
No,
America?
no Gambian can apply for race because who would they accuse of
Listen,
yes,
totally
prosecuting
gets in
them?
the boat.
it's all black people there.
There's
Totally
it's
gets
all
in the
No,
black
boat.
people.
Not what he's
Who you
asking,
gonna accuse?
No, that's
no.
what he's saying. No. There's two different categories, right? Based on
That's
race
not
and
what
based on
Dimas is asking
That
you.
Yeah,
ethnicity.
he
that's not what I'm
Dinus,
exactly.
Ethnicity.
he not talking about the
That's not what
form.
I'm asking.
Y'all are
No,
know-it-alls.
no.
You act like you know
A
it
man
everything.
told a man
You
told
are,
me a
you
long.
are, you are. The whole of you.
No, no, no.
Rubbish.
This is what I'm
Rubbish talk
saying.
again from idiots.
This is what I'm saying. You can't be an arrogant immigrant in a foreign country when your home country is on fire.
Thank you.
Dennis, can I say something?
Why? That's happening.
It's been a while since I spoke. I'd like to say something.
Y'all know so much, but your
There you
homeland
go.
fucked
He's
up.
going to repeat himself for the 100th time
Okay,
because no one's paying attention to his rubbish rhetoric.
Dennis.
Dinus just said it's rubbish.
Right?
Dinus
No,
said
you.
rubbish.
Hold on.
You.
Let me say this. Let me say this real quick, right? Afrodamas and I have a different, ideology. Afrodamas believes the white man is the king. So when Afrodamas speaks, right, he's speaking on his own behalf, the way he sees the world. When other Africans speak like mine now, I see it as Africa, the way Africa should in this world, because Africa hasn't been representative the way it should. Because I know for sure we have Western entity that comes to our countries and take and build their countries. So
Afrodamus knows that too, but he's scared of the white people.
If the 2% of Africans that's here, they're successful. I don't care about that. My goal is how can I get the 80% of the Africans that live in the continent to be successful the way they should. That's my goal.
You can't do that if you got people like black South Africans. You can't do that.
Man,
Don't
come on,
do
man.
that.
You can't. No, you can't.
The reason
Can
why
I
I said
speak?
this, right?
I haven't spoken yet.
Louis.
Go ahead, brother.
The reason why I said this, right?
Yeah,
Because
let Lewis come in now because you haven't spoken yet.
hold on. Because at the end of the day, right? A lot of Americans, right? They praise America for their success around the world, right? For a supremacy around the world. But then they don't want to go into details what their government does in other people's countries. Why they're in this position. So at the end of the day, other countries are technically fighting your government, not you as American citizens, but the people that control this country, the corporation that control this country. That's what Africans or true Africans are fighting against. So which means that your government goes to Africa and takes stuff and build your country. That's why sometimes when people talk about this so-called civil rights, you hear before you know what I'm saying, like you hear because of us. I'm like, look at the details. Look at the details first. Look at the details that's in it. You live in a country that wants to police the world. America wants to police the world.
Two things can be right, but two things can be right at the same time.
It's not two things. It's right. It's right. Come on, man. You live in America. You act like you don't know what America does around people.
They live in what they do. What happens?
Wait a minute. What I'm saying is, you're right. You're right.
Okay. If they do look at themselves as the world police, right? Why do I care about 2% Africans being successful in America when the 90% of Africans not doing good?
That's true. You're right.
It's just a non-conversation. They have these people who are here speaking about what is good in America. They have no understanding of their own country. You don't get to that level.
You know.
Yes, I know. Because you don't get. Let me finish, and then you can reply. Let me finish, and you can. I haven't finished. I haven't finished. No, let me finish what I'm saying. You see, I just said it earlier that because the United States has been the number one country in the whole world, which means the number one citizens in the whole world, those who have elected not to understand that is a deficient premise. Because the amount of manufacturing that goes on in your country, largely the raw materials from that come from Africa. And largely it is taken from Africa because everything is underpriced. Now, you not knowing and understanding that and bringing that into your argument, you not knowing and understanding that and using ignorance, using barefaced ignorance. Nah, man, you are waste. You're waste. You're waste.
You're doing the same thing NBA is doing.
I'm just trying to, but you're crushing me.
No, you're doing the same thing NBA is doing. You're putting a blanket statement on all African Americans.
There you go. You're just not listening. What you're doing is shouting over me. Why? Let me finish my sentence.
Hold on. Don't put it like
No,
that.
you see,
Because
you see, bang,
hold on.
bang. We all have our
You live in
ways of
England, right?
speaking.
I live with these people. I live with these people. Please, I beg you. Please, I beg you. You live in
You're
England.
cool.
Just like how you
No,
were
it
much
doesn't.
more knowledgeable
Don't
about
don't
what's
don't
going
bring
on
that to
with,
my table. That's not
bro,
mine.
this
I throw that out. That doesn't
no,
belong to
No,
me.
this
you do live in England. You don't live with us, so that's relevant. That's a
No,
fact.
it's not relevant to
It's
me because
relevant.
I know you
I
motherfuckers.
don't care
I
about
know
what's
you
relevant to
fuckers.
you. It's relevant to the truth.
Fuck
The
that,
truth is
man.
you
I'm
don't live among
speaking.
us.
All
The
right,
truth
fair
is you
enough.
ain't us, and you don't live among us.
I don't want to be
That's a
you.
fact.
Who wants to
That's
be
a
a tramp?
fact.
Who wants to be a tramp?
Jagon, hold on.
I don't.
No,
I'm not you.
I don't like. I'm not
I'm
confident.
not you.
Anyway,
Who wants to be
please,
you? Who
Louis, you
wants?
there?
See, this is the self
Listen to him. Listen
idiocy.
to him.
Come in, man.
Idiot.
Let Louis.
This is anachronism.
You can't be us. We're too strong. I'm
This
too
is
black, man.
unity.
I'm black. You fucking idiot.
This is
Yeah,
unity. This is
bang.
unity.
Let Louis
Yeah,
speak.
you're
Let Louis speak.
promoting
Agree
unity.
with what you.
One second, please. One second,
This is
please, right?
unity right here.
One day,
That's unity.
one day, right? My father told me, right? He wants to get the hell out of this country. So I asked him why. He said, look, man, look at how they treat the black people in this country. They've been in this country for so long. But end of the day, the system always put them down. Always constantly put them down. So you understand me, right? He said,
Hey, when did he leave and where did he go? Like, when did he leave and where did he go?
He went back home. He went back home. So he said, why should he
Where's
stay
back home?
in the country?
Where's back home?
Oh,
Sierra Leone.
So he
Sierra
said,
Leone?
why
Okay.
should he stay in this country right here, right? When, whatever he does, the system will always put him down because the things he was trying to accomplish, right? So he decided to go back home. So I always thought about it. I said, you know what? How are you going to defeat a system that was designed to oppress you? There's no way, regardless of not how many, certain people that look like you that's successful, but that successful is always attached to the same system that oppress you. So the older I gotten, I'm like, you know what? To me, Africa come first. It don't matter how successful I am, because at the end of the day, majority of my people, they still live in Africa. So I want Africa first, because if Africa first, my people could be proud. My people could be, something big around the world. So that's why I always preach about Africa first. I always expose African leaders that don't do certain things for their people. So no matter what, if you love America, you have to
That makes sense. That makes sense.
It ain't got nothing
That
to
makes
do with
sense.
immigrants. It had nothing to do with immigrants.
Yep.
You
Gives
know
an
what
excuse.
they know what their government does in other people's
Hey, let me ask you a
countries.
question.
They know
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a
I like
question?
to speak. I like to speak.
I,
Because
I,
it's
I,
going to go on and on.
no, hey, you see Harry Leonian, the guy who was just talking about his pops.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
This whole time I thought you was a black American talking all that trash about black Americans, but you're another African talking about all that trash about us.
No, he lived among us.
Hold
He
on.
lived among us.
What tries did I say? What tries did I say?
What a funny thing to
What tries did I
say.
say?
He really didn't say anything. If you really listen to what he said, the
Okay.
last statement he said, he
You
didn't
see
really.
what I'm saying?
He didn't really
You,
say
when you're not
anything
being
about-
clear,
So,
you see, when you're
so,
not being clear, these people are easily confused. They don't know
so,
anything. They
so
don't know anything about anything, and they
He
have
wasn't
mouth
saying
to speak.
anything. He wasn't saying anything. He's talking about the system.
No,
no.
he didn't
That was his
recognize. He
that
didn't
was his recent
recognize the
statement.
accent of
No,
of of
that
Bang,
that was
and
his
he
last
felt that
comment.
Bang was an African American talking shit.
That
Now
that
he
was his
finds
last comment.
that he's an
The last
African
comment.
talking
Wait,
shit.
Jogan, you
Very
keep
funny.
saying these people. Why do you put a blanket
I beg your
statement on
pardon, bro. I beg your pardon. I really do. Why? Because me, as I said, you may not understand.
Guys, we're gonna go ahead and close out. It's getting late over here. Everyone, thanks so much for joining.
Hold on, man. Hold on, man.
That is a mere search for
That
Rude.
was blatant. Thank you,
Peace and
Dennis, for
love.
the